wait is over, sports fans. Your favorite show is back, Beyond the Surface, on the X-Rated Sports Network. I am Rick Kamla. To my left, A.M. Pfeffer, holding it down in our L.A. studios. Lower left, Dwight Walton, Canadian basketball legend. And lower right, of course, the patriarch, the creator, the founder of the X-Rated Sports Network. And he is live from Bermuda right now. Dr. X rocking the Captain Clutch shirt. I've got the my favorite player, man. I got the Brum Dog jersey. Dwight's repping Kendall. AM's got the killer ugly sweater on. We got it going on, man.
Yeah, baby.
yo, cuz you didn't confirm the trip with me to Bermuda. What are you doing?
My bad. I got the email in late. Do I have permission in retrospect?
Well, in retrospect, yes, but you didn't tell Noodles. You didn't tell me. What's going on?
I'm sorry, cuz I've just been so busy. I promise never to do that again.
It's all right. We're good.
Wow.
Look at the oversized wicker chair that you are in right now. With the glasses, I mean, you couldn't look any cooler. It's not possible.
Come on, Doc.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
Come on, Doc. Doc always keeps it real smooth. All right, I have a joke, and congratulations, okay, to Dr. X and A.M. Pfeffer. They're big Knicks fans on the Knicks winning the NBA Cup. But I don't know, all right, with all of this talk about banners, hanging them, not hanging them, I'm wondering if you two guys and Knicks Nation are too cool to even receive congratulations on the NBA Cup.
I think we are too cool for school to accept it. I think it's nice that we acknowledge it, we celebrate it. No champagne, no goggles, but I think ultimately the only time we can hang that banner is when we win a championship. So we'll hang it in retrospect, almost like a player that retired and then 5 years later they raise it up. We'll raise it up, especially if we start winning more cups. We'll have one banner with all the years. That's the only way we do it.
I gotta disagree with you, Doc. You know I love you, and you and I are celebrating together. But yes, champagne. Yes, goggles. Yes, put the banner up. To me, this is soccer, man. Like, we can learn a lot from our European counterparts every once in a while, including sometimes how to raise our children, my friends.
Bingo.
Like, you put this out there, like, mid-season. They run cups. Even the MLS does this, right? They win those cups. Those guys are excited. This is for the players. This is for the fans. The NBA created the cup. It's something that's part of the fabric of the NBA. We all got on screen a couple weeks ago and we were like, yes, we believe the cup. Yes, we're excited about this. Yes, we're all invested. Obviously, the players are invested. Hang the banner. Get excited about this. It's a mid-season cup. Once you get to those quarterfinals, you are trying your hardest to get to Vegas and win the damn thing. And clearly these guys showed it and proved it. Those are our New York Knicks, baby. Hang the banner. It's all good. You don't need a parade, right? There's no confetti about this, but it's like, yeah, put the banner up. You want a cup?
I like it. I'm not mad at it.
You know what, fellas? I'm gonna say this. I think, and if I use harsh words, my apologies, but I think this speaks to the ignorance of the North American fan, to where, because it's not the real championship, let's not even acknowledge it. We have to understand that the coaching staff, the support staff, and the players worked their tail off during this tournament. Yes, it may seem insignificant because it's the early part of the season, and the average fan isn't used to a cup situation or tournament during the regular season. But the reality is, 30 teams entered this tournament, and there's one left standing. And the difference, the courts are different. The Final Four was in Las Vegas, and the New York Knicks were the last team standing. They deserve to have the championship. It deserves to be acknowledged with a banner. Now, a champagne and a parade type of ceremony, okay, that's a bit over the top. But let's acknowledge at Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, at least acknowledge a Knicks franchise that hasn't won a championship since the 1972-73 season. That will be said over and over again. And whether the tournament seems significant now, only 3 years in to the now known NBA Emirates Cup, 25 years from now, you're going to regret not hanging up that banner if it continues to go this route 25 years from now, when this cup tournament is even more significant during that era. If the Knicks don't have a banner up there, they're going to feel bad about it. Right? So I think a banner deserves to go up at MSG. I understand that there's some angst between Knicks ownership, Jim Dolan, and Adam Silver and the rest of that NBA front office. But bump that, man. Put up a banner. Celebrate it. Acknowledge it. Let it be known that the New York Knicks won the third iteration of the NBA Emirates Cup.
I love the takes from all you guys, man. So we have two raise the banners. We have Doc saying don't raise the banner. The Knicks have decided not to raise the banner, okay, for winning the NBA Cup, according to Shams Charania. Mike Brown initially indicated that a banner was going to go up in the hallowed halls of MSG and all that kind of stuff. That was immediately after winning the game. And, I don't really know the source of this decision, but they made this decision. The previous two winners, the LA Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks, also multiple-time championship teams in the NBA, they did hang their banners in their respective arenas. The Knicks have not hung a banner since winning the Eastern Conference Championship in 1999, okay? And we know what happened in the finals that year, Doc earmuffs. So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. The Knicks are keeping a dusty 26-year-old non-championship banner in the rafters, but they're not raising a banner for the first trophy they've won in 53 years? That doesn't make any sense at all. It's hypocritical, okay? Yes, you hang a banner. You don't have to go crazy about it. No parades, no halftime ceremonies. Just hang the banner, okay? Like when nobody's watching, and then maybe in between first and second quarter, you put a spot. I don't know how the hell you do it, but a banner has to be up, okay? If you don't hang the banner, it greatly cheapens the NBA Cup and feeds this narrative that it's corny or a stunt or whatever, okay? That's exactly what the league does not want, okay? And this is a huge buzzkill for the league office. By the way, the league office, a bunch of New Yorkers, okay? Who do they cheer for? The Knicks, okay? And so, I'm sure this pisses off a lot of people in the league office for the politics of it, but also because a lot of them are Knicks fans, and they're being a bit insubordinate, if you ask me. The NBA spends millions on marketing and hyping the NBA Cup. Millions, okay? I believe it's bad form to throw up two middle fingers at the league and the NBA Cup in this way, and that's exactly what the New York Knicks are doing here. And guys, I have a solution to the problem. This can all end with one sentence. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver needs to man up, okay? And I love Adam, and he's phenomenal, arguably the greatest commissioner of all time. But in this case, he needs to man up, okay? Chris Haynes has suggested that the Lakers might take down their 2023 NBA Cup banner following the Knicks' decision to not raise theirs, okay? So now it's spiraling out of control. Adam Silver has a problem on his hands. I don't know if it's a crisis, but it's a problem, okay? Adam needs to man up. He is the commissioner. You can insist that the banner must be raised. Make it mandatory, not optional. Take the debate out of it. You won't get that asinine, horrible hot take from Christopher Mad Dog Russo, one of the GOATs, okay? And I'm very respectful of him. He is one of the GOATs. I'm a fan of his overall, but it was the worst take I've ever heard from him. And Mad Dog needs to join us in 2025. Dude, hop in a time machine, leave 1975, and join us in 2025. It would greatly, greatly benefit you, okay? Adam Silver just needs to make this a rule, okay? Then all of the negativity goes away. Because every year, guys, this debate is going to come back up. Do you raise the banner? Do you not raise the banner? And the league office is going to roll their eyes and throw stuff around their offices in disgust. Adam, it's that simple. Tell everybody they got to raise the banner in their arenas and move on with your life. Period. End of story.
You're absolutely right. You're right. You're right, because I come to find out a couple of days ago, the Lakers were forced to put up their banner back in 2023. So this to the Lakers, this would make sense if Adam Silver, to your point, doesn't come to the forefront here and basically force the league or the winners of this tournament to hang up their banners. Because I think, plain and simple, the Knicks succumbed to people like Mad Dog and others during the aftermath of their championship. They listened to every sports talk show on radio and television following their championship, and they said, you know what? This is not a good idea. It's not going to be respected. Let's almost like it's a badge of honor. Let's not hang up the banner. Let's beat up our chests here, puff our chests out, and be the New Yorkers that we are. We don't want a Mickey Mouse championship. We want the real thing. We want our players to be motivated to get the real banner instead of some Mickey Mouse banner. I think this is wrong. I think it cheapens the cup. Adam Silver, the NBA front office, needs to force these teams to hang up the banner so it's properly and professionally acknowledged. It is earned. The players went on the floor and earned that championship. Let's acknowledge the NBA Emirates Cup and put a banner up in every winner's arena going forward.
I think it should be
Doc,
the practice gym.
The practice gym.
You
Throw
rock,
it in
dude.
SUNY
You
Purchase,
rock.
man. Put it up in SUNY Purchase.
Yeah, exactly.
Doc, you're standing on your business right now, aren't you, Captain Clutch over there? You're standing on your business, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
I understand, man.
I'm totally embracing it. I don't want people to feel like I don't want them to get too comfortable, which I don't think they will. But I agree with you guys. And you know what? Just take all the guesswork out of it. Adam Silver should just make it mandatory, period, in the story. Until then,
Correct.
I think the Knicks should, just out of respect, at least put it up in the practice arena. But I wouldn't be mad seeing it in Madison Square Garden. I wouldn't. So it's all good.
But it's your preference to not have it go up in Madison Square Garden, right?
Yes, correct.
Got you.
In retrospect,
Got you.
Later on they could put it up, but just not now.
Understood. All right, I want to go right back to Dr. X.
I just want to say one quick thing, man. I want that banner hanging up right behind Billy Joel when he's up there doing his thing and screaming to the fans of New York. I want to see that banner just like right literally on the background. The American flag and the NBA Emirates Cup right behind Billy Joel. Moving out. Thank you. I needed to say that. I needed to.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, and the moving out reference, I like that a lot right there. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
By the way, we have the great Kendall Gill joining us at 2:45. The great Kendall Gill will be joining us at 2:45. 15-year NBA veteran. He's a Chicago Bulls studio analyst right now. The great K. Gill will be here in about a half hour, about 2:45 p.m. Eastern time. All right, Dr. X, you first on this one, man. No setup at all. No clock either. We're going to get to the clock rounds, the rapid fire round here in just a little bit. Dr. X, can the Knicks win it all as constructed?
No. Reason being is I feel like even yesterday was a good example. As currently constructed, if you were to ask everybody right now who's their top five, like last week, the Knicks either didn't make the list or they were fourth in front of and behind like four other West Coast teams. So based off of that, I would say they're good, but keep in mind when I said the Knicks would win, I said it would be based off of how many minutes Wemby played. He only played 20 minutes. He was also rusty after not playing I don't know how many weeks, but he wasn't the same Wembanyama that we saw to start the year. I'm not saying that's an excuse. The Knicks obviously played a great game. Both teams played a great game. But in the 7-game series, and Wemby's playing like 38 minutes, 40 minutes, what's going to happen then? And that's just the Spurs. No one's talking about OKC. I don't think currently constructed they could be OKC, and we won't know until it's too late. But even yesterday is a good example. People like OG Anunoby, there's no Karl Anthony Towns. OG Anunoby doesn't play as well as he did yesterday. I mean, he played solid, had a steal and stuff like that. But he's not gonna. Sometimes he'll have 5 points and act like sorry. That's what happens sometimes, and that happens way too often. Same thing, Mikal Bridges. He'll sometimes have like a mid game like 12 points or something like that, and it'll just happen throughout the whole time. The only person that's consistent is Jalen Brunson, and sometimes he just has to shoot so much to even get those numbers. And sometimes his assists he barely gets to 8 assists. I'm happy when he does, but sometimes it's going to be like 3 or 4 assists. So I don't think currently constructed. And also Cat just does some asinine things. He gets retarded, like, sorry to use that word, but he does crazy fouls that are just like, you know, offensive fouls. He knows he's in foul trouble. He knows his value, and he still gets these fouls. He just does it way too much, and it seems like he hasn't learned from all the time he's been out there. So I personally think the Knicks currently constructed will get to the finals and then lose. That's how I feel.
It's a great answer, man. I cannot disagree with that, although I do have a different answer, slightly different answer. Am Pfeffer, Knicks fan, you are next. Can the Knicks win it all as currently constructed?
100% they can win it all. And again, this isn't about the players. We could deep dive on that, and I appreciate what Doc X just said and named every guy, especially our starters and all of that. This is about Mike Brown, my friends. I've mentioned it previously on other shows. I'm going to say it again. Look at this man making adjustments, especially after halftime. He reminds me of great NFL coaches who do the same. Tom Thibodeau did not have that capacity. He ran his players into the ground. We knew what we were getting from him every single time. You thought he was a defensive stalwart coach. He really wasn't. He put his guys out there 40-plus minute. He was riding the wrong guys. He didn't trust the guys off the bench. Mike Brown's doing the complete opposite, and he knows what it takes. I mean, look what happened in the San Antonio Spurs game in the Cup. He made the adjustments necessary to win that game after they were not winning the game for the most of the game, and then won it going away. Same thing with Indiana last night, right? The letdown game. Dwight on the text thread was like, if I'm a betting man, take the Pacers. And at first you looked like you were not wrong 86% of the way through the game until Mike Brown was like, guess what? We're taking this my way. And they won it at the end because they have the horses to do it. Yeah, it's Oklahoma City. I don't care who you're going to get or what trade you're going to make or who you're bringing in. You're always going to be up against them more than likely if you're making it to the finals. But as way it's currently constructed because Mike Brown is now the head, this is a bit reminiscent for me of when Mark Jackson had to give way for Steve Kerr and Tom Thibodeau was giving way for Mike Brown in the next year. And we all saw how well it worked out for the Warriors. I think it could happen again for the New York Knicks.
Love it. Dwight Walton, you're next. Can the Knicks, again, no trades. This is it. You're not making any additions at all. Can the Knicks win it all as currently constructed?
I want to go back at my cousin, as I always affectionately do. Phil, if the Knicks win the Eastern Conference and get to the finals, that means they have the roster to win a championship. Now, all of us on this panel and most of us in the basketball world ultimately will feel that the Oklahoma City Thunder should be the favorite to win the NBA championship. And there's a lot more to being on a team rather than getting that superstar via a trade. To AM's point, Mike Brown is cultivating a culture in the Knicks organization that hasn't been there in years. And he's finding out through injuries, players that he has on his bench can actually contribute to a championship going forward. It unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, Tyler Kolek has been put to the forefront here because of injuries to Deuce McBride and Landry Shamet. Had Tom Thibodeau been the head coach of this team, we wouldn't know anything about these players. But Mike Brown has made a concerted effort to look down his bench and to give these players an opportunity now so they feel comfortable now, and they'll feel even more comfortable down the stretch of the season and into the playoffs. So when Mike Brown looks down his bench, he says, you know what? This guy did this so-and-so at this point of the game, at this point of the year. You know what? I trust him. Let me put him into the game. The other night, Tyler Kolek Jalen Brunson was picked at half court by either Stephen Castle or Dylan Harper. I forget who it was. Immediately, Mike Brown looked down his bench and said, Tyler, get back in there. To give Jalen Brunson, the star of the franchise, another ball handler so he can have help on the court. Tom Thibodeau wouldn't have done that. So the answer is the Knicks absolutely have a roster that can win a championship this season. Will they beat Oklahoma City or whomever comes out of the West 4 times in a series? That's another question. But do they have a roster to win it this year? No question about it.
Let me also be clear, Rick.
Yeah.
I also believe that. Yeah, I also believe that. Currently constructed. Yes, I don't think so, but I think they will add depth to the middle of their bench, and I believe that will be enough to potentially put them over the top. But until that happens, I can't say that. But there are some names out there that I like on the Knicks, and it doesn't have to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I think we could just add a little bit more depth and see what happens with that without giving up anybody.
I like it. Correa said, and I'm paraphrasing, that a coach that can adjust is one that sets a winning culture, and it's an outstanding point by Correa. And we appreciate all you guys and girls watching us and listening to us here on a Friday. It's Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. It is Rick Kamla. It is Dr. Phil McDonald, a.k.a. Dr. X, Dwight Walton, and A.M. Pfeffer. Kendall Gill coming up around the corner, guys, in about 20-plus minutes. I also believe that the Knicks can win a championship. Will they? That's a different word, different setup, right? Can they? Like, can the Timberwolves win the championship this year as currently constructed? Hell no, right? So this still matters. Can they is big, okay? So it's there if they can go get it. The Knicks have arguably the best fitting starting five in the league. And it seems like they haven't lost since Mike Brown woke up and put Josh Hart in the starting lineup. The key to the Knicks this season is that the starting five doesn't have to play 48 minutes or 53 minutes, okay? Their bench is becoming very, very good. Mitchell Robinson's the best offensive rebounder in the world, okay? Tyler Kolek, X Factor in the Cup final. Last night, 16, 6, and 11 in 26 minutes. This guy's killing it. And he's really good, by the way. I liked him at Marquette. The guy was player of the year in his conference, okay? The stupid Bucks should have just drafted the guy and kept him in Milwaukee. Duh. Okay, Jordan Clarkson killing it. I told you guys watching the Cup, I saw Jordan Clarkson get a dig down steal and also block a shot, like the helicopter thing from behind. I'm like, I've never seen that happen. And I've watched Jordan Clarkson for 15 years, okay? Last night, 18 points with 5 threes. Ariel Hook-Porty has been decent, right? Like, not bad. And then, Dwight, you bring up Shaman, who's very hurt, and McBride. They're deep, man. OKC showed me a little bit of vulnerability against the Spurs. A little bit, like that much. So I'm not going to say there's no chance for the Knicks to beat them. It's unlikely, but possible. Guys, the Pacers took the OKC Thunder to 7 games last year and maybe only lost because of the Halliburton injury. So, yes, the Knicks can win this all as currently constructed. Any final words on this topic, guys?
Again, chemistry to me ultimately trumps superstar talent. And I think the Knicks have chemistry. They've discovered something. You can't tell me that to a man in that locker room, yes, winning the NBA Emirates Cup doesn't translate to an NBA championship. But you can't tell me now when the Knicks, player by player, walk into their facility on a daily basis that they're not emanating confidence. They feel better about themselves. You can't tell me that Tyler Kolek doesn't feel better about himself. You can't tell me Ariel Hock-Porty doesn't feel better about himself. You look down that bench. Jemison played great last night, played for the Lakers last year. This is permeating throughout the roster. I don't think the Knicks win that game last season because of what happened on Tuesday night in Las Vegas. I don't think they beat the Pacers last night. They were dead in the water for most of that game. But the bench kept them in the game, and then their star player, Jalen Brunson, ultimately wins it with a step-back three-pointer. That's how champions are built. Mike Brown is building a culture that I think the fans need to get on board with, should get on board with, and I'm telling you, it is going to work out down the gut of this season. Again, I'm not sitting here and saying they're going to beat the Thunder in a championship series, but the Knicks need to feel good about themselves. The rest of the Eastern Conference has been put on notice. I'm a Detroit Piston fan. I'm an Orlando Magic fan. Trust me, those teams are coming and they'll give the Knicks problems. But the Knicks, to me right now, I know they don't have the best record in the Eastern Conference, but as of today, I think the Knicks are the best team in the Eastern Conference.
I'm going to quickly tail in something you're talking about, Dwight, in this idea of chemistry. Hey, man, I remember when I opened my big mouth to a lot of Detroit Pistons fans back in the day when it was Shaq, Kobe, Karl Malone, and Gary Payton. You're talking about a superstar roster, right? I told all my Detroiters, you got no chance. Don't even show up to that finals. Well, look what happened. I'm not making that same mistake again. The Knicks can absolutely win it all.
All right, fellas. It is time for a roundtable. Not a rant, although there's going to be a rant embedded in here, baked in here somewhere. Yeah, Steve Kerr. We're back on Steve Kerr. We have to be. And this isn't just a solo joint, okay? You guys are going to have your opportunity with the bat and the piñata as well. And I recommend that you strike it hard. Is Steve Kerr on the hot seat? Said nobody ever until now. Joe Lacob, the owner of the Golden State Warriors, sent an email to a fan, and this is quite the developing story. There's a lot of setup here, guys. A lot of details, but this story is awesome, and it may lead to a future Hall of Fame coach getting fired, which is eventually what I want to happen. A Warriors fan was so fed up that he vented over an email to Joe Lacob, who actually got back to him. And this is what Lacob said, quote, "You can't be as frustrated as me. I'm working on it. It's complicated. Style of play, coaches' desires regarding players, coaches' desires regarding players. Coach's desires regarding players." He said it once. I'll say it 3 times. He continues, league trends. Jimmy is not the problem. Of course, talking about Jimmy Butler. And the answer is yes. Steve Kerr is on the hot seat because Steve Kerr is not playing Lacob's guys. Kerr is guilty of derailing careers, many of them, as well as insubordination. Okay? The coach's desires regarding players part is the dagger in this email because it implies that Steve Kerr's desires regarding players do not match Joe Lacob's desires regarding players. And that's a big problem for both of them. For Lacob, my coach isn't doing what the hell I want. And for Kerr, I may get whacked about this. And I'm not winning, okay? It is documented that Joe Lacob wanted James Wiseman. He wanted Jonathan Kuminga. He loves Brandon Podziemski, and maybe that love has waned a little bit, but he called Podziemski a future all-star at one point. All 3 of these guys basically live in Kerr's doghouse. Wiseman isn't even on the team anymore. A trade, by the way, that Lacob has since regretted. Steve Kerr spoke on the Joe Lacob email on radio in San Francisco, 95.7, I believe it is. He said, not a big deal. Imagine if everyone's emails were posted publicly. How tough would that be to live? Joe supports me. I support him. Steve, what's in your emails? What do you have to hide? Okay. You guys can look at my emails. Heck, the FBI can look at I have nothing to hide. What do you have to hide, buddy? Question. Is it a coincidence that after Joe Lacob's email went viral, that Steve Kerr, changed his tune on Jonathan Kuminga? Kinda. Check this out. Kerr said this week that Kuminga had a great practice. We talked before practice. He did the things I asked him to do. Okay. He said literally the same thing last week and then gave Kuminga 3 DMPs. Okay. But what was the difference in the verbiage on Kuminga? The answer? The email. Okay. Kerr, after practice on Wednesday, said on JK, he's been working really hard, and I'm going to reward that. I mean, he needs to be back out there. Okay, needs. It's a very strong word, Steve. You have never needed Kuminga before in your life, and you need him now? No, you don't. And you have no plans to start him. That would mean needing him. Okay, so Kerr, make it make sense, dude. Make it make sense. Oh, by the way, Jonathan Kuminga played 10 minutes last night. 10 in a loss to the Phoenix Suns. Okay, and check out this straight up lie by Steve Kerr. Straight up lie. He was on Willard and Dibbs' local San Fran radio, and they asked him if the Kuminga thing was personal. Steve Kerr said, that couldn't be farther from the truth. We treat all of our players with the utmost dignity and respect. All we try to do is win. Steve Kerr did not treat the following players, and the list is probably longer than this is what I came up with the utmost dignity and respect. Jonathan Kuminga for all the obvious reasons. James Wiseman ruined his career. Absolutely ruined it. Torched it. Nuked it. Like I'm nuking Steve. Moses Moody. Okay, remember all those years he never played him, right? Klay Thompson. He benched Klay Thompson for Brandon Podziemski. How freaking dare you, dude? Brandon Podziemski, his star little pet pupil. Man, he's on this bench start yo-yo that's crazy. My head is spinning. I'm not even involved, okay? Trace Jackson Davis, who dunked on Wemby, he hates him. Okay. Jordan Poole did basically nothing about Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole. Okay. And I mean, Jordan Poole hasn't been the same since. He hasn't. Okay. Pretty good numbers, but it just is what it is. And Kevin Durant, Draymond Green calls him out and all that kind of stuff. Steve Kerr did not do nearly enough to mitigate that. All right. So, yes, for the first time in Steve Kerr's Warriors career, he's on the hot seat. And I hope Joe Lacob pulls the plug as soon as the Golden State Warriors lose in the first game of the play-in tournament. Dr. X, is Steve Kerr on the hot seat?
In our book, he's in the hot seat. I just don't think he'll ever be in the hot seat after having 4 championships. I want him in the hot seat because I have Jonathan Kuminga on my fantasy team. I actually drafted him not pretty high, but he's on my squad. I dropped him, and Rick, during our production meeting, when he told me that he's gonna play, I actually went and picked him up during the call. But I think, and then I was so disappointed that he only played 10 minutes. So I was just like, you know what, I'm still hold on to him for now. But it's very sad that Steve Kerr has this power, and I think the name you did forget was Jason Tatum, because that was
Great call.
insult
Great
at his
call.
highest. Because these are all stars. Then they get players that are on his team, and I understand the reason. They're role players. They fill a void. They do certain things that other players aren't willing to do, and they do it naturally and they do it well. However, you got to find a spot for him. If you're such a great coach, Anthony Edwards was doing a good job of playing a role. So Jason Tatum knows how to play a role. He could shoot a corner 3 here and there, but I mean, against the competition, find a place for this guy to fit in. Don't insult his legacy after coming off a championship. And I just feel like that was one of the biggest ones that I can remember in recent history.
Yeah, I was kind of like stuck on the Warriors. It's an outstanding call. I can't even explain how much that made me mad, what he was doing to Jason Tatum. And they were both the Serbia games. Like, Serbia had this vexing puzzle, this riddle that could not be solved unless you bench Jason Tatum. And they would have beaten Serbia with Jason Tatum starting. It's a bunch of garbage, and that's a great point by you. Dwight Walton, is Steve Kerr on the hot seat?
Until it hits rock bottom, Rick, Steve Kerr will not be on the hot seat. To my cousin's point, you have to respect the 4 championships that he's won. He has done a better. He is the championship coach. The one thing I will say, there definitely is a disconnect between Steve Kerr and Joe Lacob, and it's of the disrespectful kind. I think Steve Kerr is basically telling Joe Lacob, I know how to coach basketball. I have knowledge about basketball. Joe, these may be your babies. These may be the guys that you want me to play, but right now they're not playing well enough, and I don't see the purpose of playing them in the games. Now, there could be that theory out there that Steve Kerr hasn't done a good job of developing young talent. And that maybe there is some legitimacy to those accounts here. You talk about James Wiseman, Moses Moody, Brandon Pajimski, Jonathan Kuminga. Things haven't worked out in their favor under Steve Kerr. Pajimski's been a yo-yo in and out of the lineup. Moses Moody has been a yo-yo in and out of the lineup. James Wiseman, unfortunately for him, injuries are now a part of his story and his career. So maybe there is some legitimacy to that, maybe getting rid of him. But the reality is young players haven't flourished under Steve Kerr. But as far as I'm concerned, until that relationship, until things hit rock bottom, I don't think that Steve Kerr deserves to be on the hot seat because of the 4 championships. And the reality is, if the Golden State Warriors somehow get into a play-in situation and then they get into a playoff situation, you can't tell me that experienced lineup that has championship DNA will not put fear into any team in the Western Conference, and that includes the favorites, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Dwight, I love you, but I could not disagree more with that. I don't think anybody is afraid of the Warriors right now. And I know you got Steph, but all you have to do is trap Steph. You just send 2 at him. You get the ball out of his hands. You deny, and then swing, and you're going to live with a Pajemski 3-ball or something like that. Is Memphis, maybe Minnesota, are they kind of like, ooh, Golden State? Yeah. OKC ain't sweating Golden State. And, San Antonio's not sweating Golden State. Denver's not sweating Golden State. I don't think the Lakers are sweating Golden State. So, again, love you. I just do not agree with that. I think this is an old, aging, unathletic team. They play small. They get crushed on the glass. Dwight, again, I love you. I don't see it that way, man.
And that's fine, too. But if not for a Steph Curry injury last year against Houston, they beat the Houston Rockets. Now, the Rockets are a better team this season. No question about it.
Good point. I forgot Houston. Good point.
But I just think you get that experienced roster. Yes, they may not have the athletes that the top tier teams have, but that experience, the game does slow down somewhat in a playoff situation. I wouldn't want to play the Warriors, and Steph Curry can give you 50 points on any given night. Jimmy Butler last night gave you 31, albeit in a loss to Phoenix. Steph Curry didn't have one of his better games, had 14 points for the night. But you put a roster out there of a Steph Curry, a Jimmy Butler, an Al Horford, a Draymond Green. Yes, that is a very much aging roster, but a very experienced roster that has playoff championship DNA. I wouldn't want to play them, but again, opinion is opinion. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I love it, Dwight. We will see how it plays out. I love the fact that Trace Jackson Davis is ironically positioned on our Golden State Warriors team graphic. I mean, I freaking love that. Let's go, TJD. Put him on the graphic, baby. That gets me fired up. All right, AFF is Steve Kerr on the hot seat.
Money, money, money. $17.5 million a year for Steve Kerr, making him the number one paid coach in the NBA. You know what it's going to cost Golden State to get off that contract? A lot. Tens of millions of dollars. And for that reason alone, he's probably not on the hot seat, but he should be, to Rick's point. I want to go back to Lacob's email for a second. I'm going to say it a fourth time, Rick. Coaches' desires regarding players. But why am I saying it for the fourth time? Well, you got to look at the word coaches. C-O-A-C-H-E-S. Lacob, who I believe, Lacob, I don't know how you say it, is actually a very smart man. He didn't apostrophize the S. There is no C-O-A-C-H apostrophe S. That would have implied it's specifically Steve Kerr. I'm wondering if he's trying to scapegoat a little bit outside of his $17.5 million man, right? Is Jerry Stackhouse, Terry Stotts, Bruce Frazier, Ron Adams, are they taking a little fire here? Is there something going on underneath Steve Kerr making a couple decisions? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. It is all a little bit strange, but as we were discussing on our text chain, this is my favorite story of the week. Wild that Lego responded to that fan, and wild that the fan put that out there on a Reddit thread. Really interesting.
I was going to say, that was my next question. How did that email get out there to begin with? It's crazy.
The fan.
That's how. The fan. The fan was just like, here, let me throw Lacob under the bus, put it on a Reddit thread.
But guys, Joe Lacob is not going to do something irresponsibly. He is not. He sent an email to a fan knowing that email was going to get out. In my humble opinion, did he
spell coach specifically? So if he's not irresponsible, did he ES it or did he leave off the apostrophe S on purpose?
No, I have an answer to that. All right, Joe Lacob is a billionaire, multiple businesses, runs the Warriors, who absolutely suck right now. Oh, you got a lot going on, okay? To me, that is a big boss who's busy just send. So I don't think he was sweating apostrophe or ES. I think it was just a quick email, boom, send it off, right? I mean, it's not like an in-company email. It's an email to a fan, so you're not going to like dot every I and cross every T, just bam. But I believe that was calculated by Joe Lacob, knowing that the fan was going to be like, damn, I just got a return from Joe Lacob. I'm going to put that on Twitter and get my 2 minutes in the spotlight or whatever. But I think Joe Lacob meant to do that. Do you guys agree? Dr. X, where are you at with this?
I think the same thing before. I think he may have put that out there, but ultimately they're not going to get rid of Steve Kerr. I think Steve Kerr is too valuable to the organization and has done too much good for the organization. I think the GM should be fired if anything. I know what's the other guy that was there before? Was it Mark something?
Bob
Forgot his name.
Myers.
No,
Bob
Bob
Myers, yeah.
Myers.
Yeah, Bob Myers. I'm kind of glad that Bob Myers is gone, but I don't think Dunleavy is doing a better job either. Mike Dunleavy. I think they really, to your point, they do have athleticism, but Steve Kerr's not playing them, right? So the whole Jonathan Kuminga, Trace Jackson Davis, those are athletic guys. Peyton Jr., athletic, and then the other guys, I mean, Curry isn't dunking, but no one can really keep up with him. That's why they have to double him. So I mean, ultimately speaking, they're like a trade away, kind of like what happened with Jimmy Butler. Because if it weren't for Steph Curry injury, I don't think I don't think the Timberwolves would have even won that series last year. I think Timberwolves would have lost. So I think if they get Giannis, as I was saying, as a rental, that's the answer. That's the answer to
That's not
everybody's
happening.
happiness. I'm telling you, just trade all their young guys.
But hold on,
Um,
but Phil, hold up,
mhm.
hold up.
Get some picks.
Phil, how could you be glad that Bob Myers is gone and the dude won 4 championships, and now you're questioning Mike Dunleavy, who just got there, acquired Jimmy Butler. They were going to have a good playoff run last year until Steph Curry blows his hamstring out. I think Mike
They're-
Dunleavy Jr., Bob Meyer, I
mhm.
think they've done a fantastic job. I don't think the GM should be fired. That now I may be talking out of both sides of my mouth, but if anything, it's Steve Kerr who's not playing those young athletes. This isn't Mike
The
Dunleavy
GMs have to
Jr.
tell them. The GMs have to have some more power, and also the owner. I mean, at what point can the owner just say, "Look, I don't care what you're doing. This guy needs to at least get 25 minutes a game. Period. End of story.
So
Figure it
fire
out."
him.
Yeah, but if he says no, then I would actually fire him. If I'm the owner, I would do that because now I'm giving you an actual directive and you're saying no. So I just wouldn't stand for that. There's plenty of good coaches out there that could do that, would do pretty well with the roster if you add a little bit more depth and some more athleticism. So I think honestly speaking, I didn't like what Bob Myers is doing because they were coming off a championship. Number one, you should have never lost KD. Then you didn't do a good job. I don't remember all the details now, but they didn't do a good job of getting certain players in there, of just like the bench, like that team that had Barbosa, Iguodala, Sean Livingston. I don't know all the numbers and stuff. There was a period where they were kind of just you know futtering around, and then ultimately,
What period was
I think
that? They
that was
won.
that was like the year. That was the year that Curry broke his wrist. That was also another year where they also had D'Angelo Russell. That was another year where they had Wiggins, but Wiggins hadn't hit his stride yet. And then
And
out
Clay
the
was out
blue,
that year.
Then
yeah,
they went
exactly.
and
There
got
was
KD. They went and got
no,
Durant.
no, no. I'm talking about post KD. They didn't do a good job of just they were just. I think Jordan Poole was the standout that kind of put them over the top, and then Wiggins had a really good playoffs, and that kind of made
Well,
them. Yeah.
don't blame Bob Myers for Durant leaving. Durant wanted to leave because Durant felt disrespected, whether it was the media,
It's
whether it was the
culture.
fan base.
Everybody's involved with creating culture, including the GM. And I think the GM, when if the players aren't stepping up and the coach isn't stepping up, it's up to the coach and the GM to bring back everybody together. You can't just watch things, dismantle after you won 2 championships. He should have never left. If
I think that's
anything,
on Kevin Durant.
I would have traded Draymond Green to show Durant how special he was. I would have traded Draymond Green with the quickness.
Bingo. Or suspend Draymond Green for like 10 games or something and
Exactly.
show Durant that, no, we're not standing for this. We're drawing a line in the sand. Yes, we love Draymond, but Draymond, go home for 10 games. I don't think
Yeah.
Kevin Durant would have stayed in Golden State had they done that. KD left Golden State for one reason, Draymond Green. And by the way, the Bob Myers thing, I have a theory. Bob Myers drafted Kuminga, drafted Moody, drafted all these guys, right? That Steve Kerr, not all of them, but the earlier guys, right? And I believe that Bob Myers dipped out of a dynasty because he was tired of not having any autonomy. And the other thing, and I've said this for years, Mike Dunleavy Jr. does not run the Warriors. Steve Kerr runs the Warriors. I believe Mike Dunleavy Jr. is like the computer that Steve Kerr puts his information into, and then Dunleavy makes it happen. I'm not being funny here. I think that's actually, think about it. Steve Kerr was the GM of the Phoenix Suns. Okay? Steve Kerr is as arrogant as Phil Jackson. Okay? Obviously, who he was with for many, many, many years. Phil Jackson's the most arrogant human being in the history of the NBA. Steve Kerr is approaching those heights. I mean, Doc, you said it. How do you just ignore a directive from your billionaire boss? Okay? It's because you're obnoxiously arrogant. He's basically calling Lakeup's bluff. Dude, I got 4 chips. I'm going to the Hall of Fame. You're not going to fire me. Okay, so that's why if I'm Lakeup, I would whack him.
They should actually just hire Michael Jordan to be GM and minority owner, and if he talks back to him, just knock him out.
That's it. I like that. That was a nice spin right there. The punch all over again, right? What, 30, 40 years later? Oh, man, exactly. I love it. All right, guys, let's bring on the great Kendall Gill right now. And I want to give Kendall the proper introduction here, okay? We got to give Kendall Gill the proper introduction.
He's been listening, Rick.
And
he's laughing.
See it on his face.
He's been
Hey, Gill, I got to give the proper introduction. And now, 6'5", 216-pound swingman out of Rich Central High School in Chicago by way of the University of Illinois, where he was an All-American in 1990, drafted 5th overall by Charlotte in the 1990 draft. 15-year NBA career, led the league in steals, 51st all-time in swipes, guys, and he's currently a Chicago Bulls studio analyst. Kendall Gill, my friend, what's up?
What's up, Rick? Haven't seen you or talked to you in a while, man. I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, man. K. Gill, so this is what's up. Dr. Phil McDonald is lower left here. He is the creator, founder of the Patriarch, owns a team in the TBT. He's a sports medicine radiologist. A.M. Pfeffer holding it down in our LA studios. Terrific analyst. And Dwight Walton is a Canadian basketball legend, played in the 1988 Olympics, played pro ball for a long time. So this is the panel. And now, Kendall, we get into this. And we've got a bunch of questions for you. We know your time is somewhat limited here. So I want to start with a Bulls question. Is there any doubt in your mind that Josh Giddey is an all-star this season, even though the Bulls are 4 games under 500 right now? And I don't know how the record's going to look, but is there any doubt in your mind that Giddey is an all-star?
No doubt in my mind whatsoever, because of his ability to flirt with a triple-double each and every night. And if it weren't for Josh, our record would be a lot worse. But here's the thing. Back in 97, I was averaging about 24 a game, about 7 or 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. And I had all-star numbers, but I didn't make the all-star team. And the simple reason is because my team was not 500 or above. And that is the one thing that I think if Josh Giddey does not make the all-star team, that's what's going to be the reason why he doesn't. Now, the Bulls are starting to get healthy. They are starting to play better now with their full lineup back. Over the past 3 games, they've gone 2-1, and they're starting to get back to the form that you saw earlier in the season when they were 6-1 when they started off the season with that record. Now, Josh still has time. I mean, they still have time to get to 500 and get above that. If they do, I think that he's a shoo-in to be an all-star.
Am, why don't you come in here with a question?
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. And, unfortunately, I'm short on time as well. Kendall, it's so great to meet you. This is awesome. We really appreciate you coming on. Look, I am one of the original fanboys. This is where this comes from. You're in my sweet spot, man. Like when I was 14 years old in 93, NBA Jam came out, the arcade version, and you and Larry Johnson on the Charlotte Hornets were my team. And then I followed you the next year when you moved over to Seattle, and it was you and Detlef Schrempf when Sega Genesis came into my living room, and all of a sudden you were still my guy, and I was not giving up. Back-to-back teams, I had to keep Kendall Gill in my atmosphere, man. Tell me, have any other fanboys approached you and had a conversation like that? I mean, there must be legions of guys like me out there who've talked about this.
Yeah, they have, and I appreciate your support, man, throughout my pro career. But, from the Charlotte Hornets team, they tell me about the starter jackets that they used to have. Everybody had a Charlotte Hornets starter jacket.
Sure.
Then, when we went over to Seattle, that team was awesome that first year. We won 63 games. But you know what? You know most guys your age when you were 14, most guys remember me from the episode of Brother and Me that I did for Disney, the search for Kendall
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's up there as well. Wait, I got by the way, a second part to the question, if I may. You know, are you still? Is there still some NBA Jam paper coming your way? I mean, are there residuals like 30-something years later? That's part of this. There's got to be, man. I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, we still get a licensing check, once a year in the league. So I'm
That's
sure
it.
our was in that check.
There you go. That's perfect. Well, listen, it's great to meet you, gentlemen. I got to run. This has been a great show. I'll leave it to you to keep speaking with Kendall. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Peace out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you guys.
Hey, peace out, man. All right, let's take it down to Bermuda, where Dr. X is currently chilling and having fun. Dr. X, hit him with a question.
Yeah, man. I flew down here to celebrate the Knicks NBA Cup win, but now let me stop. Nah, it's my wife is an international recording artist, and they have some Christmas program going on, so we're here with our moms.
Great.
Made a Mother's Day trip out of it, but yeah, man. I followed your career as well, and you were really dope in NBA Live back in the day. I think that was when you were the Charlotte Hornets, and then you went over to Seattle, and then Brooklyn. Or the Nets. I would say New Jersey Nets was a pretty good year. But I was checking out all the people that you were drafted. You were drafted fifth, and one of our co-hosts, Dennis Scott, he was drafted fourth. I know Gary Payton was in that draft. Derek Coleman and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was there, or Chris Jackson was his name back in the day. And that draft was pretty deep. Where would you rank your draft in retrospect amongst
Man.
top 5 or 10?
There's been so many drafts, since then. But we had some quality players in that draft. Derek Coleman going number 1, Gary Payton number 2. Gary's in the Hall of Fame right now. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, who was Chris Jackson at the time, and the hardest guy I've ever had to guard, number 3, and Dennis Scott 4, and then me 5, and then Felton Spencer I believe was number 6, and then you can go on down the line. So it was a really, really strong draft. I don't know where we rank, but I would put it right up there. I would go to battle with the top 7 or 8 guys in my draft against anybody.
I agree.
Dwight, it's your turn, man.
What's going on, Kendall? Pleasure to meet you again.
Hey,
I don't know if you remember. I played against you. Our Canadian national team had a Big East / Big Ten tour back in the late '80s. We played against you guys. You guys beat us. We beat you guys. You guys beat us by 6. It was one of the closer games that I think we had on that tour. Playing in Illinois and Champaign, atmosphere was great. The question I have for you. I saw your interview, and you just spoke to it a little bit just right now in response to my cousin's question. I saw your interview with Sarah Kustok, and she asked you, who were the hardest players you had to guard throughout your career, and you gave your 5 toughest players. I have the list here, but I want you to reveal. If you, of course, you remember your response, but you did speak very highly just now of Chris Jackson, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf right now. Could you please give us the top 5 players that you had to guard in your NBA career?
Okay, I'll do better than that. I'll give you my top 10.
There you go.
Nice.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right.
Number 10, Mark Price. Number 9, Magic Johnson. Number 8, Reggie Lewis, the late great Reggie Lewis. Number 7, Allen Iverson. Number 6, Kobe Bryant. Number 5, Vince Carter. And the reason why I say Vince Carter is because, Vince Carter, and he was young then. I think he was either a rookie or his second year in the league when I got a good gauge on him. He was just athletically, man. He's just a freak, and he to this day, he and Michael Jordan are the only guys I've ever played against that I can see the bottom of their shoes when they jump.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay. Number 4, Reggie Miller, and I said in that interview that I would have to take Tylenol and Advil before the game because I knew I was going to be sore after the game because of all of the picks that I was going to have to run through. With the Davis boys, Rick Smith, Detlef Shrimp was on that team as well, setting picks for Reggie. And Reggie at 6'7", man, he could run for days and he could run like a deer and never got tired. So he was one of my harder covers. And on top of that, he's Reggie Miller. He could play. So you give him all of that. I mean, it was really tough to guard him. Number 3 was Grant Hill. Grant, I've worked with Grant, of course. Rick and I, and at NBA TV, we've all worked together before. But Grant at 6'8", the way that he could handle the basketball, man, and get to his spot. He had one of the most wicked crossover dribbles of all time. And I think had he not hurt his ankle, you talking about one of the all-time greats because of everything that he could do. Only weakness I saw in Grant, and he probably would have overcome this, was his lack of 3-point. But he could knock three every once in a while. Number 2 was MJ, and everybody MJ, man, and I said this in an interview too. He was better than the game, and what I mean by that, if the game of basketball played MJ, the game of basketball would lose. Man, I mean, and you'd have to be on the floor to really know that. I mean, I know some fans, I hear some fans say, well, he couldn't go left. Man, bullshit.
I agree.
He could go wherever his combination of athleticism, his combination of fundamentally sound basketball, his combination of wanting to win everything. It ain't no lie, man. When they talk about his competitive drive, man, it was just unworldly, and his speed, his strength, everything combined, man. This guy had it all, and it just wasn't. He's the best player I've ever played against, point blank. But because I was 5'5", because I was athletic, because I could compete with him athletically, and slide with MJ when he drove the basketball. I could steal a ball from MJ every once in a while. I could block his shot every once in a while, and also they allowed hand checking back then. So I would use my forearm a lot on my opponent's weight. So I could get MJ there, I could get Kobe there, I could get Grant there, I could somewhat harness what they were doing. But like those guys are so good, you ain't gonna stop them. All you're gonna do is slow those guys down. I mean, anybody in the NBA really. I mean, it's you can't stop them. They're in the NBA for a reason. And number 1 was Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, man. I mean, and formerly Chris Jackson, but Mahmoud and I, we've been friends since college. But still, the first time I played him, man, I just couldn't believe how quick he was. And I'm like athletic, and I'm thinking I'm the best freaking guard athlete in the country that year. But he showed me a little bit different, at that point. The thing is about Mahmoud is that he could get you going one way, and by the time you recovered, he was already up in the air shooting the basketball. And I could never get to that move, because I could never get him here. He was always so elusive and so quick with it. And, I tell people all the time like this, to use a boxing analogy, and I use this with Sarah, he was like Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao throws a lot of different punches, and he throws them from different angles. He masters the angles. Mahmoud mastered the angles offensively, and he came at you with a lot of different variety on the shots. You couldn't see his offense coming. That's why he was so difficult.
Wow. The top 10
That's a really good list.
toughest players to guard all time from Kendall Gill. Phenomenal. All right, Kendall, upper left, we have a man named Brandon Armstrong, a.k.a. B-Dot. He's a famous NBA impersonator. He's a pro hooper. He's a rapper. He's a comedian, a family man, a chef, and he's got the Mickey Mouse headset. So, B-Dot, Kendall Gill is with us, man. Ask him a question.
Oh, how you doing, man? I appreciate you being on the show, man. It's an honor, man. We appreciate you in general, man.
All right.
I gotta ask, man. It's been I don't know if it's a false narrative going around But they said, Michael Jordan had 10 plus all NBA defensive teams, and they said that Michael wasn't that great of a defender. They said, I'm not trying to stir any pots, but I want to know how great and how good was Michael Jordan as a defender, or was he that good in general at all? Because they said people like he had fits with people like Allen Iverson, Tim Hardaway, J.R. Ryder, the man you just mentioned himself. So, from your expertise and, you being, from that era, how great or how overrated was MJ as a defender? And don't be scared. Don't shy away from anything. It's all love over here.
No, I don't shy away from it, man. I just tell the truth, man. And the thing is that he had no weaknesses, okay? And the only weakness that he had was sometimes on the defensive end, he could lose you because he was so focused on the ball. And, that's why I scored a lot of my points against him, because I was able to lose him and he didn't know where I was. I mean, that's the only weakness he had on the defensive end, but going up one-on-one against you, he could stop you. You talking about perhaps the greatest athlete to play basketball ever. That could move laterally, that could go vertically, that was quicker, that was smart. All those first team all defensive selections, the defensive player of the year that he got, those didn't come by happenstance. He earned those. And I saw it firsthand. I mean, he and Scottie Pippen, two of the greatest defenders I've ever gone against. And with people that are saying that, they just really don't know basketball.
Right. I appreciate you clearing up that narrative, man. I don't know, man. These podcasts and this new generation people, they trying to tank Kobe's legacy by talking junk, and they do the same thing with MJ. He played against Plumbers and all this stuff. I'm like, man, look, y'all really don't know basketball if y'all saying all this, man. So I appreciate you clearing that up.
Yeah, a guy was saying that stuff to me one day, and then he said, MJ played against Plumbers, and I said, oh, so you guys say you calling me a plumber? And then he goes, I said, okay, let's go. Be on the basketball court. I said, let's go. We're gonna play right now. 10 Gill. Okay, they don't understand that it's different levels to professional basketball. They think just because they can get on a podcast and things like this.
Amen.
Not until you've been on that court with the best do you understand what you're talking about, or you have to go out there to understand what you're talking about. So, I love when guys like that come up and bring subjects up like that.
Hey, Kendall, man, I got to ask you, and this is on the narrative tip as well, right? I think 80s and 90s basketball is a tie for me for the best decade of NBA basketball, right? Could be the 80s and 90s, but I think that, generation, those 20 years are the best the NBA has ever been. But we have a lot of these podcasters, Kendall, saying done with the 90s. And I don't think any of them are older than 25, but you've heard that narrative. You were drafted in 1990. The 90s were literally your sweet spot. So when you hear somebody says done with the 90s, what goes through your head?
I understand them because this is their era, but they don't understand that basketball now is a lot different than it was then. Right now, I think the average three-point shots that they take in the game is like 35 plus now. Back when I played, it was 7 3-pointers per game that each team took. The pace of the game is a lot faster. But here's the thing, Rick. I don't particularly like watching the pro game now. I do the Bulls broadcast and everything. I love what I do, but it's to me, and Kobe Bryant said this before he passed away. He said today's game is accidental basketball. They drive to the lane, try to get paint touches. If you don't pick them up, their strategy is to just go straight to the rim and score. If you stop them, they want to kick out for threes. There's no harmonious offenses run. The day of the low post player is gone. No more Hakeem Olajuwons, no more Patrick Ewing, no more Shaquille O'Neal's. And I absolutely hate seeing this. The mid-range game is almost obsolete now. I see so many players drive to the basket from the three-point line, have wide open mid range and don't take it. And then they throw it, and then they dribble it out and try and throw it out for a 3-point shot, which is a horrible shot. If the amount of 3-point shots that are taken now, if we took those back in the 90s, we would be taken out of the game. And I know that analytics is saying that, well, if you take more threes than twos, you win the game. But still, if you go back and you watch when it's down to the nitty gritty, when it's down like the 7th game in the playoffs, when it's down to the 7th game in the championship series, you're gonna need them guys to hit some mid range shots. Because analytics can't measure when you need that hard two. When Kevin Durant has to go in and get a hard two, or when Kawhi Leonard has to go and get a hard two, or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has to go get a hard two, which he's mastered the mid-range game, by the way, one of the best in the league. That's why I think it's a totally different game. The game was, and then also in today's game, they've taken the physicality out of the game, it has been engineered to promote more scoring. They also let the guys travel all the time too. And I'm a basketball purist. When I see guys 5 steps forward, then 6 steps this way, and then I see on social media when they say travel or nah. I'm like, oh man, of course that's a travel. That's not the way the game is supposed to be played. But that's the era. Rick, we have this segment on the pre-halftime and post-game show here in Chicago. And every time I go on a rant, they pull up this thing called "Get Off My Lawn," and they have me with my gray beard, with my cane. But I don't care, man. I'm gonna be a basketball purist until I die.
Hey, don't go changing on us, Kendall. Hey, K. Gill, I know you're in a bit of a time crunch. How much more time do you have with us here?
I got 10 more minutes, man. 10, 15 more minutes.
Okay, cool. Dr. X and Dwight, if you got another question, come on in here.
Yeah, man. Just in general, what do you think are the chances? We just had the guy that you just met, A.M. Pfeffer. He was asking about the chances of Giannis coming to the Bulls. I think it's hogwash. I don't think there's no chance. I don't even think he would fit. I don't even think he'd want to go to the Bulls. But is there any talk of Giannis actually desiring to be on Chicago? And do you think he would fit on Chicago?
Well, Dr. X, I might have to disagree with you on this one, man. I mean, Chicago is the 3rd largest market in the country. We lead the league in attendance every year. If Giannis was to come here, they have pieces to make this team a contender right away. They'd have to give up some pieces. But with Giannis, surrounded by a Josh Giddey, surrounded by perhaps a Kobe White, a Modest Bucelis, then you're talking about a team that can really make some noise. Now the thing is, what is it going to take to get him? And I'm sure Giannis wouldn't mind, driving 90 miles south rather, to Chicago rather than picking up his whole family and going someplace all the way across.
Exactly.
I mean, that's really attractive when you don't have to do that, And he's got staples. Hey, look, I'm a New York Knicks fan too. Hey, you guys got a Illinois guy by Jalen Brunson making your team relevant, So, but like Giannis in Chicago, I've heard rumors about him ended up in Miami, maybe New York. But I know that it's going to be a big market team. His next stop if he does leave.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Great question, Doc. All right, Dwight, come on in here, man.
Hey, Kendall, you spoke about Grant Hill as being one of the harder players for you to guard in your career. Unfortunately, I have Grant lumped, and Grant has a Hall of Fame career, no question about it. But I have Grant Hill lumped into these 4 players: the aforementioned Reggie Lewis, on the unfortunate passing of Len Bias and Anthony Penny Hardaway. What could have been for 3 of those players, including Grant Hill, especially at the small forward position, to where we covet that position so much in today's NBA. Of course, the ultimate right now is LeBron James, but speak to Grant Hill, Len Bias, Reggie Lewis, and Anthony Penny Hardaway if you can.
Yeah, you can put Derrick Rose in there as well.
Yes,
but
absolutely. Yes.
Rose in there. But as far as Reggie Lewis is concerned, man, he was the future of that Boston Celtics team, and we were playing them in the playoffs, and I'm running down court, and I'm on the other side of the court, but I hear Reggie fall. When he the first time that he collapsed due to the heart arrhythmia, and he was taken out of the game, and he came back in the second half, played for a couple of minutes, but then they took him back out. That was the last game that he ever played. That's when we played him. Hornets. We played him in the playoffs. So me playing against Reggie, he was so tough to guard because of him being 6'7" at the guard position and being able to shoot the ball from everywhere. And Muggsy Bogues told me this. He said, Kendall, you know why you could never block his shot? And then I was like, no. And then he said, because he's got scoliosis. Every time he jumps, he's going backwards and you going up. That's why you can't block his shot, because his spine is making him go this way instead of straight up. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, that's why you can't ever block. So I didn't know that about him, but he was really tough. Grant Hill, who I said I thought Grant could have been an all-time great, man. I mean, he was coming along, and at 6'8" to do the things that he did. I thought that he was better than any 6'8" player that I had played against that handled the basketball. Just even though he still had a Hall of Fame career, just still a career that could have been, like I said, in top 10, guy of all time. Lenny Bias, only guy that I thought could have rivaled MJ. Athletically, IQ-wise, strength, speed, power. He was the only guy I thought could rival him. I remember where I was when I first heard that Lenny had passed away. I'm in high school at the time, and I'm laying on the couch, and my brother runs down the steps and tells me about what happened to Lenny. I didn't believe it, at all. Because I used to back in the day. I used to record all of the games and my highlights on VHS. And I had one Lenny Bias highlight VHS tape. And I still got it to this day, actually. And, my favorite college guys, it's just a shame that we didn't get to see what he was going to become. Because I think that would have been Michael's rival. Just like Larry Bird had Magic, it would have been Len Bias, Michael Jordan. Penny Hardaway, of course, I thought Penny still had a great career. Penny was great. Only thing, Penny didn't like to play defense. Penny offense was great, man. But defensively, I think that's what if Penny had been a real aggressive defender, that would have put him on another level. Derrick Rose, if Derrick Rose had not gotten hurt, we would have gotten another championship or two here in Chicago, because he was just, in my opinion, probably his MVP year or the year after that. Even with LeBron in the league, I thought he was approaching being the best player in the league. Nobody could stop him. And whenever Derrick played, people signed just silent contracts. And what a silent contract is, when you Mike Tyson as an example. Mike Tyson in his heyday used to come into the ring, and you could tell that the other guy was holding on and pretending to fight because he really didn't want to fight, because he knew he would be knocked out. So he signed a silent contract, okay? All of the point guards, and I'm talking about all of them because I covered all these guys. I saw all the games that Derrick played here, okay? Signed silent contracts against Derrick Rose. They did not want to guard him. Okay, he was a true problem, and the guy he didn't talk a lot, but he just spoke with his game. I'm glad they're retiring in Chicago in the next couple, in about a month or so, and I'm glad that they're giving him his roses, no pun intended. When he really deserves it.
Kendall, you got time for one more?
Oh yeah, I got one. I got time.
All right, B-Dot, hit him.
Just piggyback on what Doc was saying earlier. A lot of players, in your opinion, how do you feel about them, coming to Chicago and not wanting to come to Chicago because of the Michael Jordan legacy and them, having to live up to it? I think Giannis would be fine just because he's a power forward. He's not not like a LeBron or KD, where these guys are, essentially being ranked in his top 7. So what player, in today's game would fit perfectly in Chicago if traded there and wouldn't mind that Jordan legacy being hovered over them at all?
I think Giannis is one of them. And it's been some time now, because Michael's been retired for a number of years. The Jordan statue still sits, in front of the building. So nobody's ever going to be Michael Jordan, So I think that if any NBA superstar comes in with that in mind, that I'm just going to be myself, they can come here and play and they'll be embraced. The only one that I believe wanted to embrace it was Kobe, because Kobe almost was a bull. He was almost a bull in Chicago. And Kobe didn't mind it, but of course we all knew Kobe's attitude. We knew what he was made up of. So that trade almost happened, but unfortunately it didn't for this franchise. And I'm glad Kobe stayed in LA and only played for one team. But he was the one person that was willing to take that legacy head on and go ahead and put those shoes on and try to fill them.
Yeah, I think one player that would go to Chicago and not worry about Jordan's legacy and still a great player, I think would be SGA. Not saying he would, but I'm talking about that has that mentality. That has the mentality like, okay, I have my legacy and I know Jordan has his, but I'm not afraid to be compared to him because I'm young enough to understand this is my legacy and I'm no competition to Jordan. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, so the lotto, the Powerball here in Chicago is over like 1 point something billion dollars. And I have like a 1 in 3 million chance of winning that Powerball. The Chicago Bulls have 1 in 3 million chances to get SGA on this team.
It's the same as the Powerball odds, which is you guys aren't good. Kendall, love you, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Great questions, phenomenal answers. Would love to circle back with you in 2026. Continued success. Love watching you on the Bulls broadcast. And please say hi to Will Purdue, another friend of mine, for me, okay?
I will. I'll see Will tonight. And I appreciate y'all having me on, man. Great questions, you guys.
Kendall, Gill, peace. We'll be in touch, man.
Kendall, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Kendall,
Rick,
Gill, ladies and gentlemen.
Question.
Rick, before that next segment, hey Doc, what kind of chair you sitting in, man?
Oh man, I'm in Bermuda, man. They got me feeling like a king over here.
There you go. Hey, that's still got a groove.
Hey, Kendall's still on. Kendall's
Rick,
still on.
you still hear me?
Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Who you got? What round is Jake Paul gonna get knocked out in tonight?
Ooh. Ooh. I want him to get knocked out, so I would say 3.
First, I need to see Anthony Joshua's transfers, his bank transfers, to see how much money been sent to him first.
So to Dot's point, Kendall, do you think tonight is a scripted fight or is it a legit? Now listen, all of us are going to have opinions in regards to how the fight plays out. That's just normal.
Yeah.
It's human nature. But do you think there is a script to tonight's fight?
No, I don't think it's a script because Anthony Joshua has a fight lined up with Tyson Fury next year. Okay, sometime this summer. And if this thing is scripted or he lets Jake Paul, go the distance, then that fight is in jeopardy. I mean, he's talking about he's guaranteed almost another $100 million for the Tyson Fury fight, and he's not a YouTube guy getting away with that, And I know some people that have talked to O'Hearn, his promoter, and he says that AJ ain't gonna be playing with him tonight. So, I expect him to get out of there. Yeah, so we'll see.
Okay, so to your point, why does this type of fight? Why is this fight allowed to happen? If Joshua better not he better not lose to a YouTuber. To your point, but why is this fight allowed to happen?
Because Javante Tank Davis pulled out of the fight. He was originally slated to fight Jake Paul, but Javante Tank Davis pulled out of the fight. And Javante Tank Davis is a hell of a fighter, but he's only 135 pounds. So I think they said, okay, you just can't fight anybody. You got to go get a big name. So they got Anthony Joshua and offered him $90 million. And Anthony Joshua said, hey, man, that's a hell of a payday for some easy work.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's smart. Joshua. And then he can get a little tune-up before he fights Tyson Fury. So I understand it. It's business, man.
I love it.
Uh-huh.
I'm tuning in now.
Yep.
Anthony cannot afford to lose. He didn't.
Right.
That was some dope insider information right there. If you guys want to wager on the fight, I mean, Kendall just broke that thing down, man. So we don't really have it in the show, but I love it. I'm going to be watching Alabama and Oklahoma tonight. Sorry, just kind of huge game of college football. I know you guys are going to be watching the fight, and I'm also going to be out. I got a concert I'm going to. So anyway, it doesn't matter. What do you guys think is going to happen tonight? Is Paul going to win or?
No, I'm just zapping up B-Dot's jersey, X-Rated Sports Network, TBT jersey.
Oh yeah, I love
every
that.
day, baby. Come on, stop playing with it.
Is Paul going to win tonight? What do you guys think?
I think Anthony gets him in the 6th round.
Okay, there you go.
Just because it has to, they got to get the money's worth.
And that was my point to the question I asked Kendall. I'm not saying the fight is scripted, but I think to get your money's worth on Netflix, it has to go at least 6 rounds. If Joshua holds back, pulls back. And the thing is, you know how it is in basketball or any professional sport. If you let an overwhelming underdog stay within range, you never know what can happen. So it's to Joshua's benefit to end this thing sooner rather than later. But because it's on Netflix, everybody's going to be watching. I think it has to go at least 6. But Joshua better end him in 6.
Yeah. Dr. X.
So what do I say? I think it's going to be 3 rounds. I think he's going to.
Will you be able to watch the fight, and will you be able to watch it down in Bermuda?
I probably won't be able to catch it, but I'll probably catch the highlights later.
There you go. I'm going to definitely watch the highlights, but I got some other plans tonight. All right, dudes, let's move on here. It's Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. And guys, time to fire up the clock. The rapid fire round begins, 60 seconds or less. A big shout out to Jason Arambula, our producer, Kai Josephson, our video director. So last night, guys, Thursday Night Football was epic, phenomenal, maybe the game of the year. We're not going to have that debate. Too many games, right? Unbelievable game, okay? The question is, can Seattle win it all with Sam Darnold? Nope, they cannot. He's a cute, cuddly choke artist. He's a cute, cuddly choke artist, just like Carson Palmer and Dwight's boy, Tony Romo. The only reason that Seattle won last night was a Rondo-esque assist from the refs. You can't advance the fumble in the 4th quarter. It's the holy roller rule. And the refs ruled that 2-point try was a backward pass. Should have been incomplete, but then they called it a fumble. Dude recovers it in the end zone. Darnold did not execute the play, and they still gave it to him. It's the worst call of the year given the stakes of that football game. And when you talk about Sam Darnold, guys, the history is not good with this guy, okay? I know they won the game last night, but the first time they played the Rams, he had 4 interceptions in a 21-19 loss. Seattle has arguably the best defense in the league. Darnold is a regular season player only. I got some stats for you guys. He's played 1 career playoff game in the NFL, passer rating of 77.6. In the 2017 Cotton Bowl, his final college game, he sucked. They lost 24-7 to Ohio State. He had 0 TDs and 58% completions. 2017 regular season finale against UCLA. They won, but Darnold stunk. 0 touchdowns and 1 pick. He threw 13 picks in his final college season, 9 picks in 10 games in his first college season. He's talented, but he's got the clutch. He does not have the clutch gene, again, like Tony Romo. So, Dwight, I'll go to you here. Can Seattle win it all with Sam Darnold?
My response to you, Rick, is I'm a bias. I love Sam Darnold. We treat Sam Darnold as if he's some 35, 36-year-old quarterback that no team wants. He's 27 years old. He's approaching his prime. Yes, he got off to a bad start with the New York Jets. I understand that. But I think he's an improving football player. He won 14 games with the Minnesota Vikings last season. Yes, the last game of the regular season and then the playoff game kind of spoke to the early part of his career. I get that. And some of the games this season, including last night, could have gone wrong for him, but he bounced back. He showed resilience. I think the Seattle Seahawks have a legitimate shot at winning this season. Case in point, that defense is great, but I think Darnold will exercise those demons and have a heck of a playoff run and possibly get Seattle to the Super Bowl.
The stage is set between Dwight and Cam on Sam Darnold because he will be in a big playoff game or 2 or whatever that looks like, and we will be able to circle back to that. Let's go to Dr. X here. Dr. X, can Seattle win it all with Sam Darnold?
Well, I think so. I think the biggest thing is that, at least it's not him alone. As Dwight said, the defense is key. And that's at least one side of the ball or one side of the field is taken care of. And now he has to just not mess it up and just keep him in the game, give him a chance to win. And ultimately, yeah, I think with that record, the record says it all. I'm kind of disappointed that the fans are booing him and things like that. But, the record speaks for itself. That means that they have a chance to win. And given a chance, depending on who their opponent is, I think they can win it all.
All right, so Doc, keeping hope alive. Dwight, keeping hope alive. I can't go down that road with Sam Darnold. So B-Dot, can Seattle win it all with Sam Darnold?
Hi, well, let me say this loud and clear and with my chest, all right? Can Sam Darnold lead Seattle Seahawks to a Super Bowl? The answer is yes, but with conditions, okay? Because, the facts are Seattle's winning games. They're near the top of the NFC East. The defense is real. The run game travels, and Darnold is competing. He's completing about 2/3 of his passes, which is about, 20-plus touchdowns a season. It's not elite, but it's functional. But, and this is the big but, turnovers are the red flag. Multiple interception games, risky throws under pressure, and he has a history, which makes people nervous in January. So, no, I don't trust Sam Darnold to carry the Super Bowl, to carry this team to the Super Bowl. But can he manage one while the defense cooks and the run game eats? Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, Super Bowls aren't always won by heroes. Sometimes they're won by the guy who just doesn't mess it up. So, with all those, everything I just said, and with those conditions, he can lead them to a Super Bowl, but just, not too crazy. He won't be the superhero.
You guys absolutely rock. Phenomenal points. You're hanging in there with Darnold. So B-Dot, to your point, the Baltimore Ravens won a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. Remember the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with their killer defense with Sapp and Brooks and John Lynch and all those guys. Brad Johnson was their quarterback. These are game managers, right? And so theoretically, you can win a Super Bowl with a game manager. It's rare, but it can happen. So we will see. And I want to move on here to Joe Burrow, guys. Let's talk about Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. The question here is Burrow done with the Bengals? And before we dive into this, okay, I want to show you a video that I saw on Twitter. And this is going to give you an idea of how frustrated. This was not like last week. It was sometime recently here. But check out this interaction between Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Guys, hit it.
The penalty train rolls on. What the fuck are we doing, man? Wake the fuck up. Fucking mental mistakes all fucking day.
finish the day. That's a great drive to finish it. I know it's frustrating.
Embarrassing performance by us. Fucking embarrassing.
And listen, we'll address it. But at the same time,
So there you go. It got worse, by the way. The guys kind of pulled the plug on that. Probably too many cuss words, but it got worse than that, okay? Here's the deal. Is Burrow done with the Bengals? Signs point to yes. He needs to just ask for a trade from the NFL's toilet, a.k.a. the Cincinnati Bengals, who have ruined more players' careers than Steve Kerr, okay? Matthew Stafford asked the Detroit Lions, thank you, asked the Detroit Lions for a trade early in 2021, wanting to join a championship-ready team because Detroit sucked. They never won anything. Even with Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders, they couldn't win a damn thing. So Matt Stafford was like, I'm out of here. Asked for a trade. They honored it. Jared Goff goes to Detroit with picks, and Stafford wins the Super Bowl, okay? Burrow was asked if he ever envisioned playing for another franchise. The question came 1 week after Burrow said he wants to have fun if he's going to keep playing football. He ain't having any fun in Cincinnati, guys. Burrow said this Wednesday, a lot of crazy things happen every year. Burrow also said he can't see any world in which he's not with the Bengals in 2026. And then there's this exchange. Reporter asked, have you ever thought about the possibility of not being here during your career? Burrow said, you think about a lot of things, ... Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. Talented, clutch, I could go on for days. He needs to exit Cincinnati as soon as possible. Burrow needs to ask for a trade privately and threaten to sit out, okay? And the team will cave and they will trade him just like Matt Stafford, okay? And I have 4 teams that he could be traded to, guys. The New York Jets, although I don't want this to happen because the Jets killed Carl and the Jets suck at everything, okay? But theoretically, they could do it. Justin Fields is still under contract, but he's got a dead cap hit of $22 million for next year. They could cut him and just eat that. The Colts, Daniel Jones, guys, signed a 1-year contract. He is a UFA after this season. I think Joe Burrow looked pretty good in a Colts uniform. The Raiders, Geno Smith has a dead cap hit of $18.5 million for next year. They could cut him and bring in Joe Burrow, who would be with Tom Brady, one of the guys with the Raiders. And then maybe the Cardinals. Kyler Murray seems like he's on the outs there, but Jacoby Brissett has low-key been really, really good. So I don't know about that. To me, the Colts is the option here. But Joe Burrow needs to flex and get the hell out of Cincinnati. I want to go to Dr. X here first. Dr. X, is Burrow done with the Bengals?
I think he is. I think he should be. I just don't know how it's going to play out. I don't think he should do anything disrespectful, as you said. Ask, quietly, but it always gets leaked somehow, and then now, it's still out there. So I would just say I would like to see him on the Raiders, but is that going to happen, and for who? You know what I mean? It'd be great if they kept the tight end over there. I forgot his name, but he was on my team.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah, Brock Bowers. Yeah, so that's a good starting piece, but I think the Raiders have to get rid of several people, and that would be Carroll, and I think Brady should be promoted in a way where he has more decision-making capabilities and kind of is able to make more decisions. And I think someone like a Joe Burrow would fit that culture if he's creating it.
I love it. Dwight, you're next, man. Great call, Dr. X. Dwight, what do you think, man? Is Joe Burrow done with the Bengals?
First of all, I don't feel sorry for Joe Burrow because he asked for this. I understand that the offensive line has been basically patchwork for the past several seasons, but according to reports, he wanted the front office to keep Jamar Chase in the fold and to re-sign and give T. Higgins whatever amount of money he wanted. Now, they didn't flex enough on Trey Hendrickson. They eventually paid him, but his presence on the defensive side of the football really hasn't paid dividends to where I think the Bengals need to be. Joe Burrow asked for this. I understand that things happen during the season, and he's probably being very emotional, especially with the comments he's made over the last couple of weeks. And of course, seeing this on HBO didn't help. And as you said, it got worse over the course of that conversation. But I just think Joe Burrow needs to suck it up. It's very difficult for a franchise to give up on a franchise level quarterback. And that's what Joe Burrow is. To your point, Rick, Joe's going to have to be the one to ask for the trade in order for the Bengals to adhere to that. But it's not the easiest thing to, one, get rid of a franchise quarterback, and then two, create another culture with another franchise quarterback. So if I'm the Bengals, there's no way in hell I'm giving up on Joe Burrow unless Joe Burrow is insistent on asking for a trade. But he made this bed. He needs to lie in it and understand he could be a possible solution to a question going forward.
B-Dot, is Joe Burrow done with the Bengals?
To piggyback off Dwight, I don't feel bad for Joe either. But I can be very clear right now. Joe, he's not done with the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Bengals, they are on thin ice with Joe Burrow. Okay, this man is a former Super Bowl quarterback. He led this franchise to relevancy, and when healthy, he's still putting up 4,000-yard pace numbers with elite efficiency. Yet, what's around him? Inconsistent protection, defensive lapses, a roster that hasn't kept up with the AFC arms race, and to Dwight's points, that goes on Burrow because he asks for certain players to get paid, not leaving enough money for, other improvements. Now Burrow, he didn't say trade me. He didn't quit, but what he did say is he's not happy. He wants to be happy playing football again. And that's quarterback code for, let's fix this shit, But he's under contract, he's loyal. But understand this, elite quarterbacks don't wait forever, all right? This offseason isn't about Joe Burrow leaving Cincinnati. It's more about whether Cincinnati is willing to change fast enough to keep Joe Burrow. So with that said, Joe's not done, but I think Cincinnati is on they're on a time slot.
Fascinating. Great answers, guys. Really good debate. We will see. This could either just kind of fade into a non-story and Burrow's with the Bengals the next 3 years, or this could become like Kevin Durant asking out of Phoenix and Brooklyn, right? So, or Stafford asking out of Detroit. Stay tuned. All right, let's get back to basketball here, guys. Again, rapid fire round, 60 seconds or less. B-Dot, you're first on this one, man. Is Jalen Brunson the best American-born player? Go.
Wait, is he the best American-born player?
Yes.
Ever?
Right now.
No, right now. Right now.
Is Jalen Brunson? Oh man, it's a guy in San Fran by the name of Steph Curry. It's a guy in Detroit by the name of Kay Cunningham, and I think he was born in America. So to say is he the best right now, he's definitely one of the best, but
right.
No. He might be the best American-born player under 6'1". Yes, right now.
But that's not the question. But I love it. I love it. The creativity, man. The best American. Okay.
Top 3 in Americanism.
I love it. All right, Dr. X, you're next, man. Is Jalen Brunson the right now the top American-born player in the NBA?
Not the top. Definitely, he's top 10. And then he might even be top 5. I mean, right now, if I were to try my best, I would say Anthony Edwards. I'd add that to B-Dot's list. And then after that, I mean, you got Jason Tatum. You can't really discount Jaylen Brown. He might be tied with Jaylen Brown. And then I think there's some other players that we're just not thinking of. But and KD, I mean, I could even put him above KD, even though how well he's playing. And LeBron James, I still can't put him above LeBron. So yeah, he's definitely top 10. But yeah, he's on the radar, man. I'm really glad that Coach Mike Brown has given him his flowers, and I'm really impressed with the whole narrative about how he took that last minute shot. And he told Mike Brown he's winning this game. So I love the confidence.
Doc, lean in for our audience here and kind of pull up your shirt a little bit. Show them your shirt. I love this shirt. Absolutely love that shirt.
It's all about the details. So that's Captain Crunch, but it's made with basketballs, and the bowl is actually the Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then it says Captain Clutch, and then I think even has like even the nutrition details show his
Yeah.
accolades.
Yeah, you
Dude,
might
I'm
got to send
telling
that
you,
to
that
Captain
shirt
Crunch
is,
marketing team. You might got to send it to
dude, that
Yeah.
Jalen's
shirt is
marketing team.
dope.
Get him a little extra bag.
Now, if you want this shirt, and we might want to get this clip, it's something called the Bocker pages, Bocker pages, on Instagram, and you can order the shirts. I got some Walt Clyde Frazier gear. I got all the good stuff. They do hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, which this is, and it's hot and popping on the Bocker pages.
Yo,
Okay.
cuz, is that a cotton shirt or is it dry fit?
Cotton.
It's cotton.
Mhm.
I dig it, Doc.
Yes, sir.
I mean, Doc looks like $1 million at all times, right? But this is probably the favorite look that I've had since we've been doing shows together
1000%.
because of
I
course,
appreciate it.
because I mean, look, dude, come on, y'all know,
Okay.
y'all know the deal here. Y'all know the deal here. I got nothing but love for my favorite player in the NBA. My second favorite player in the NBA is Victor Wembanyama, by the way. It's a virtual tie. But Brunson's my guy. In Brun Dog, we trust. Okay, that's what I say over here. And I'm not even a Knicks fan. I'm a Timberwolves fan. But I do kind of, Doc, the Knicks they're like my side piece team. They're my side piece, dude. Like I'm hitched to the Wolves, right? Like that's like the Wolves, that's rings and weddings and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's just is what it is. But you know, my side piece is the New York Knicks. So I do cheer. I would love it like a Knicks Wolves finals. Okay, so let me give you my answer here. I do believe that Jalen Brunson is the best American-born player right now, but it's layered. Kind of like B-Doc gave us the conditions with Darnold. He's the best active American-born player for me, but not by resume. That's obviously LeBron James 1, Curry 2, Durant 3. Okay, the best active American-born player right now is Jalen Brunson, and here's why: he is not the most talented or gifted, and that's obvious, right? But Jalen Brunson is currently the best clutch player and winner from this list. Okay, so SJ was born in Canada. Is he more clutch than Brunson and better winner? Yeah, he is. Okay, but Brundog won 2 in college. He's knocking on the door of winning at least 1 in the NBA. And I think he will get a championship, Doc. I don't know if it's this year, but Brunson's going to win a ring. It's going to happen, okay? I can't make that promise with Ant-Man. Ant-Man is 1/3 as serious as Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is blood and guts, bro. Blood and guts, okay? Nothing else matters, Jordan-esque style, Kobe-esque style, but the win, okay? Ant-Man doesn't quite get that. I guess my time is up here. But yeah, right now, I would rather go into battle with Brunson than any other American-born player, including Booker, Cade Cunningham, Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey. I could go on. So, and Brunson, we trust over here, man. I'm rocking with my guy.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love the take, Rick.
I'm rocking with my guy, man. All right, rapid fire round continues here, guys. I think you guys are going to like this one. Dwight, I'm going first to you on this one. Luka or Ant-Man, okay? Luka or Ant-Man. This is for the present and future, not just this year. All right, so it's a dynasty trade. You're getting into this guy. You got him for the rest. So, Dwight, you go first. Are you taking Luka or Ant-Man for the rest of their careers?
I'm taking Luka Dončić for the rest of his career simply because he, this is tough. I may be speaking out of both sides of my mouth because the Timberwolves have gotten to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. But I just think Luka Dončić does a better job of involving his teammates. Now, does that eventually lead them to wins? We're going to find out. But because he's been challenged in Los Angeles by his head coach to get in the best possible championship shape of his career, let's see if that influence of being around LeBron James and being held accountable by JJ Redick will somehow impact him in the future. The statistics are undeniable. I just think Luka Dončić is the player I would hitch my wagon to more than Anthony Edwards currently.
B-Dot, how about you? Luka or Ant-Man for the rest of their careers?
This is a close one, but I'm going with Luka. Reason why, outside of his basketball, his basketball experience and how great of a player he is, he's been surrounded by more basketball savants than Anthony Edwards. You know, he had a year with Dirk Nowitzki. Jason Kidd was his head coach. Kyrie Irving has a ring. LeBron James and that whole Laker culture. And even J.J. Redick being, the great player, that he was. I think that also, factors in with Luka's game and his understanding with being a pro since the age of 13. I think all of that comes into effect of him being the player he is now and the player he is in the future. He's lost in the finals. He's had up and downs in his career. So I love Ant-Man, and he's an Atlanta guy just like me. But Luka in the long run, just with everything I said, and because all of that does matter at the end of the day. And now he's leading a team with LeBron James.
B-Dot, the point about all of the basketball savants that he's been around is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Something that I hadn't even considered yet. Well done. Dr. X, rest of their careers, Luka or Ant-Man, who are you plugging into?
Definitely going with Luka. I just think in the most clutch moments, even earlier on in his career, when it came down to big games, you never really see Luka put up a donut or even score 13 points and be nonchalant about it. Even in a bad game, Luka's flirting with a triple-double, or we even have like 24, 34 points, and he's getting his teammates involved. He hits his free throws. He's talking trash. He's backing it up. He's going at whoever is the head guy on the other team. He's not ducking any smoke. And Edwards, I love him. Athletic. He has clutch moments as well, but sometimes he doesn't seem to rise to the occasion. I wouldn't say he ducks any smoke, but he's smiling too much while taking shots, taking jabs, catching strays. He's just smiling way too much. He's just way too affable, way too charming. And when they ask him questions, he's kind of just like, doesn't have that killer instinct in him. And that's why I'm going with Luka.
Wow. Okay. I actually thought this might be a little bit of a debate. It is not. It is 4 for 4. I'm going Luka as well. ESPN's Tim Bontemps runs his MVP straw poll. SGA is 1, Jokic is 2, Dončić is 3. Of course, that's how I have it. He's at 35 points per game, leading the league by a mile, 9 assists and almost 9 rebounds. Okay. Last night in the win at Utah, 45, 14, and 11 with 5 steals and 1 turnover. Luka and Cade are the only dudes in the history of the NBA with that stat line. Luka, Doc, to your point, Luka gets it now. Okay, he is serious, locked in very, very good shape. Finally has that killer vibe. Okay, he didn't have it in Dallas. He did not. He played very well, made the finals, but he didn't have the killer vibe. Ant-Man isn't even capable of posting stats like Luka with the 35, 9, and 9. He's not even capable of doing that. He's not. I don't think he's ever had that stat line. And I love Ant-Man. Ant-Man just isn't there yet. He's not serious enough. Losses don't ruin him, but they need to traumatize him into getting better. And he hasn't figured that out yet. But I think he will. Ant-Man's 24 years old, okay? I do think Ant-Man's going to win a championship, and I do think he's going to get that killer gene. He just doesn't have it yet, but Luka does. All right, 4 for 4. Back to another rapid fire round question in 60 seconds or less. And I'm going to go first here, guys. More trade value, Trae Young, Ja Morant, or LaMelo Ball. Zach Lowe put out that LaMelo Ball has more trade value than Morant and Trae Young. Quote, he has the most trade value of the, does anybody really want these guys, PGs, Trae Young, Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball? And he said, it's not close. Is this opinion, Zach, or sourced intel? It's a bunch of garbage no matter what it is. Zach Lowe should be ashamed of himself. That said, Zach looks good right now. After Ball destroyed Young last night, Trae Young missed 22 games with the right MCL, came back, 8 points, 10 assists. Hawks lost, of course, 133-126 to Charlotte, okay? LaMelo Ball goes off, 28, 4, and 13. I may go a little long with my timer here because I have some setup in here. But Trae Young is an all-time great. He's even north of a Hall of Famer, okay? Ja Morant is the highest maintenance player in the NBA, okay? So I'm out on that. LaMelo is the most unfocused, unserious, unmotivated, undetermined, undisciplined, unwinner I've ever seen, given his talent, okay, which is at a Hall of Fame level. But his horrible intangibles will keep him from even sniffing the Hall of Fame. He never plays. He's a walking DNP. And this is not going to change when he leaves Charlotte, which will happen eventually, because he refuses to play at less than 100%. Trae is 25-10 for his career with very good attendance, this year notwithstanding. You can win with Trae as your number 2. You can't win with LaMelo Ball, period. Dwight Walton, you're next.
I'm going to piggyback on everything you just said. And the reality is, I've spoken to several execs, some coaches in the NBA as well. Ja Morant's trade market right now is not as good as you think. I don't think he'll be traded for nothing. The Grizzlies will get something in return if they so choose to do that. But his trade value right now is not as good as you think in the NBA. LaMelo Ball, he's all show right now in Charlotte. I think the only reason they're keeping him in Charlotte is because he puts fans in the seats, but eventually that will wane to the wayside and they will eventually move on from him. I think if you watch Knipple, as far as I'm concerned right now, is the early leader in the clubhouse for Rookie of the Year. I think the Charlotte Hornets, they want to build around him rather than Ball going forward. Trae Young, to me, is the one with the most trade value if he's eventually traded.
B-Dot, more trade value, Trae Young, Ja Morant, or LaMelo Ball?
Trae Young, easily. LaMelo had a great game last night, but let's be honest, 20 of those 28 points was in the first half. They barely won. And I'm a LaMelo guy. I love LaMelo and I love Ja, but at the end of the day, Trae Young is a winner. He's proven that, and Doc knows from firsthand that Trae gets it done when healthy. And it was his first game back. He had 8 points and 10 assists, and people said he wouldn't be able to defer to Jalen Johnson. Jalen had 40. Jalen had another 40-point triple-double damn near. So once they get those wheels rolling and everyone's being able to play together and they get more practice and games under their belt, the Hawks will be perfectly fine, and you will see that Jalen Johnson will score more and it'll be easier because one thing Trae does, he passes the ball ahead. In a pick and roll with Jalen Johnson and Trae Young is crazy. So Trae Young, trade value.
Dr. X, do we have another? Yeah, go ahead, Dwight.
If I could say something, Rick, Dot, I couldn't have said that better. I have this argument with Phil and with other Knicks fans. I get it. Jalen Brunson might be the better player, but in terms of being able to give you the same point productivity and also get you double-digit assists in a game, Jalen Brunson doesn't do what Trae Young does. That's just the reality, right? But, of course, we can debate who's the better player, but Trae Young, at the very least, will get you 10 assists every game.
Dr. X, who has more trade value, Trae Young, Ja Morant, or LaMelo Ball?
Well, first off, I want a minute and 30 seconds because Dwight took an extra 30 seconds.
Put it on there. Give Doc a minute 30. Equal time. Like a political debate, right, Doc? You got to have equal time.
Yeah. He just wanted to pour more shade in my Knicks. But nah, and long story short, it's definitely Trae Young. I agree with everybody on that. But let's not lose value on how talented the two other guys are. But just imagine, thank you guys. Just imagine if Trae Young got to the Rockets somehow. Maybe they offer some picks. They don't want him on the East Coast. They put him on the West. Just imagine the Houston Rockets picks up any one of those point guards. Because they're in dire need of a point guard right now. Maybe LaMelo Ball starts taking basketball more seriously because he's on a contender. Or, Ja Morant finally puts the guns away, all the shenanigans away, and he's more locked in because he's on a contender and he's around some real vets. He's also around a really good coach that he respects. Just imagine those guys being on a team like the Houston Rockets. But of all of those guys, I would rather Trae Young on that team because he's going to get everybody involved. He's always going to get the double-digit assists, especially with the team that would be there. And then he's also clutch. He's going to hit the deep threes. He's also a threat.
Well done, Doc. But they're playing you up.
That's for Dwight, man. I'm not from Canada.
Oh, cut that out, man. Stop.
Yeah, but anyway, Trae Young all the way. Trae Young to the Houston Rockets. Let's go.
Okay, Doc put it down. All right, Doc, this one's for you. You're going to go first here. Again, another rapid fire topic for us. Are the Pistons contenders or pretenders?
Oh, great.
Man, 100%, 100% pretenders because they haven't had any signature wins. Dwight, can you guys put Dwight on the screen and also put him on mute at the same time so we don't have to hear his laughs? Just piercing through everybody's segments. Double screen, guys. Double screen. Come on. Double screen. Anyway, long story short, I definitely got to go with the Detroit Pistons here. They are definitely pretenders. And the issue with me the issue I have with Detroit Pistons, they don't have any signature wins, like zero. I think they beat the Celtics, but it was, with Jalen Brown, so I don't really count that as a signature win. And Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, they lost last night, and who was that to?
Detroit lost last night to Dallas.
Yep. So he lost to Dallas. So here it is. They start playing West Coast teams, and now they start losing. So we haven't seen them go against the West Coast and be battle tested yet.
All right. Well, Dwight, obviously we go to you next here. Are the Detroit Pistons contenders or pretenders?
Without question. And to Phil's point, he is correct. They do have a 21-5 record, but most of those games up until last night were against Eastern Conference opponents. Now, the schedule is going to get tougher, but I just think because of how JB Bickerstaff coaches that team, he wants them to be physical, he wants them to be brash, to be in your face. What they are lacking right now is consistent shooting. Duncan Robinson can't be the only player that you rely on come the playoffs to be a shooter. I don't know what's happening with Malik Beasley and his off the court issues right now, but he is one player that will be definitely plug and play if they can get him back onto the roster. I think that the Pistons, at the very least, will get to the Eastern Conference semifinal this coming playoff with the possibility of playing New York in the Eastern Conference Finals. They are definitely contenders.
B-Dot, you are up next. Doc says pretenders. Dwight says contenders. Are you pre or con?
Man, I like Detroit. You feel me? I don't think they're pretenders. I think they are contenders because they are in the East. And in the East, you don't have to beat a Western team or any Western Conference teams to make it to the NBA Finals or to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, LeBron James, when he was with the Cavs, he lost to a 6-23 Detroit Pistons team, in 014, so if we're going to go tit for tat, we can bring up stuff like that. But I think they're in the perfect conference. They're not in the West. So are they pretenders in the Western Conference? Yeah, maybe so. But they're not in the Western
Not
Conference.
even there.
They're playing against Eastern Conference teams. So their whole point and the whole goal in order to make it to the NBA Finals is beat the Eastern Conference teams. So I think they're contenders and perfectly fine. I think they're gonna be fine. I believe in Detroit.
I like it a lot. I am with Dwight and B-Dot here. The Pistons are contenders. You have a core MVP candidate, Cade Cunningham, who I believe is ready for big stage moments. You have a great coach who is my choice for coach of the year. They're number 5 in net rating. You have a great defense, number 2 in defense. And you have major depth, a.k.a. a crew. And the teams that win chips these days, you got to have a crew. Okay, you can't have just one dude and satellite players. You got to have multiple fantastic players. Guys, Osar Thompson is having a tough time getting minutes on this team. That's how deep they are. Okay, you have a villain, Isaiah Stewart. You always need a villain. And think about, Javonte Green, Isaiah Stewart. These guys bring like octane and intensity and badass every single day. And I know you guys are like, I did not have Javonte Green on my bingo card for this show, but I like Javonte Green. Can you imagine Javonte Green in practice, right? Picking up Cade Cunningham and trying to like stand out and all that kind of earn minutes, with JB because they're so deep. I bet you Javonte Green is a pain in the you-know-what in practice.
100%.
but iron sharpens iron. And so I really like what they got going on. I do not think they're going to beat the Knicks, guys, but I think they are easily the second biggest contender in the Eastern Conference, behind, of course, the New York Knicks. Guys, it is time to rant, okay? And we're getting late in the show here. It is time to rant. And, you know, I'm feeling pretty good about this one, guys. And I'll get us started here. I got to kind of scroll down my rundown a little bit. Give me a couple more seconds here. All right. So great news here for my second favorite player of all time. Magic Johnson's first, Kevin Garnett is second. Shams Charania reported Hall of Famer Kevin Garnett is reuniting with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Hooray! And the Lynx in a new all-encompassing role involving business, community efforts, and content development. His number 21 jersey will go up in the rafters, okay? Shams also reports that Garnett had been distant from the Wolves since his playing career ended in 2016 due to a fallout with Glenn Taylor. And that's what this rant is going to be about. And you guys are going to enjoy this walk down memory lane with the awful Glenn Taylor, okay? So Glenn Taylor was so bad and obnoxious that Kevin Garnett did not want to have his jersey retired. First time anybody's ever done that. That's how bad Glenn Taylor is, okay? But KG built a rapport with Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez, the new owners, and so this is happening. Congratulations to Kevin Garnett, who I got to know a little bit in my time at Turner Sports. I love Kevin Garnett, okay? This is a long time coming. This is only happening because of the ownership change. First of all, screw Glenn Taylor. He is the reason that I stopped claiming the Wolves as my team and stopped cheering for them. Yes, a fan tragedy because of Glenn Taylor, but I couldn't take it anymore. Okay, but as they sang in The Wizard of Oz, and I am going to sing a little bit for you guys. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, old witch, the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. Wake up, you sleepyhead. Rub your eyes, get out of bed. Wake up, the wicked witch is dead. Okay? Okay? Because the wicked witch is dead, so to speak, I have returned as a Wolves fan. I now claim the team. I watch their games on League Pass religiously, not as religiously as Wemby games, but I still watch them religiously. I am back to referring to them as my Wolves, and it's all because the ceiling that Taylor created has been lifted, okay? They can actually now win their first championship because it was never, ever, 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 ever going to happen with Glenn Taylor, who is constantly in the way. Glenn Taylor is the third worst owner in NBA history, behind Donald Sterling and Robert Sarver. Then it's Taylor. And no, Taylor's not a racist, and he did not create a severely toxic work environment, according to reports that we know of, like those POSs, okay? That said, Glenn Taylor is such a tool that he alienated the best player in franchise history, Kevin Garnett, who loves Minnesota. He literally loves Minnesota. I don't know why, but he loves Minnesota. KG wants to be involved, have his jersey retired. He didn't want any of that with Taylor. Guys, Glenn Taylor hired David Kahn, who was a con man, okay? Who passed on Steph Curry twice in the same draft. Okay, the same draft. Okay. He took Rubio and Johnny Flynn. God bless him. But wow, was that terrible. Glenn Taylor oversaw the Joe Smith fiasco, which earned the Wolves the death penalty from David Stern. And I got to tell you a quick story. Kevin McHale told me this. He said David Stern had everybody go out, all the brass with the Minnesota Timberwolves, owner, GM, president, everybody, right? And Stern got him in an office at the NBA league office. Kevin said he had never seen anybody in his life more angry than David Stern was that day. He said David Stern cussed him out for about 20 minutes, and David Stern passed a sheet of paper across the table and said, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, you dumbasses left a paper trail, okay? Intimating that if you hadn't done a paper trail, you might have gotten away with this, okay? But you dumbasses had a paper trail, and so we got to bust you, okay? It's just so stupid. Glenn Taylor is pathetic. He had seller's remorse, created contract disputes with Rodriguez and Lowry, repeatedly tried to back out of the agreement. He created a burn book thing, okay, where he reportedly compiled a 77-item list of complaints against Lowry and Rodriguez, citing dining with Kevin Garnett. What? Are you insane, dude? And without informing him, and also having an open alcohol bottle. What the F, dude? Taylor is notorious for blaming others, okay? He blamed Kevin Love. He publicly blamed coaches and management as opposed to falling on the sword himself. I can promise you that the NBA league office is extremely happy that Glenn Taylor's dumbass is no longer the owner of the Timberwolves. One of their 30 teams was terminally ill under Taylor, but they've been now, guys, back-to-back Western Conference Finals. Is it a coincidence that that happened after Glenn Taylor gave up the team? No. The next move, guys, is to build Kevin Garnett a statue, okay, outside of Target Center, just like the stupid and cheap Vikings need to do with Randy Moss, their best player in franchise history. By the way, the Minnesota Vikings, Purple People Eaters, Fran Tarkenton, Chuck Foreman, like all these badass players, right? They don't have any statues. Why? Because they're cheap and dumb, okay? What does Minnesota have against statues? Build KG a statue, and that's my rant, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to Dr. X. What do you want to rant about, Dr. X?
Man, I don't have any rants, but I got that send-off ready for y'all when you're ready. I just got shout out, man. That's all I got. So take me live.
I got you. Because I want to go to B. last with this rant. Dwight, what do you want to rant about right now?
Well, we all know that the college football playoffs start tonight. And like you, Rick, I plan on watching Alabama at Oklahoma. I'm looking forward to that matchup. But I want to implore the powers that be in the NCAA office to get rid of the conferences, get rid of the G5, have a schedule a lot like the NFL. At the very least, if you want to include the G5, this is not the NCAA basketball tournament to where you have 68 teams and to where a Cinderella story or stories can be created. Currently, it's a 12-team playoff. And for college football to have a true champion, you have to have the 12 best teams vying for that championship. Again, this is disrespectful to James Madison and to Tulane, but they shouldn't be there. Have the 12 best teams in this playoff, or use this year as an example. Have a play-in if you're insistent on having the G5. But when it comes to the 12-team playoff, I know it's eventually going to go to 16 and possibly 24 in the future. Get rid of the conferences, have an open schedule, and don't leave a 12-team tournament in the hands of a computer or human error or human education. I think a lot of these decisions were based off of money, how they feel about a program. I understand that Notre Dame didn't get in because Miami beat them head-to-head. That makes a lot of sense. However, the other teams that are in it, we can question that until we're blue in the face. Get rid of the conferences, have a G5 play-in, and let the 12 best teams decide a championship on the football field as opposed to human error or human nature or technology.
Dwight, I just want to quickly say I love your idea about a play-in, and it works, okay? The Saturday of the Heisman and Army-Navy, they could play 2 play-in games that day. They could do that, and so you'd have like the top 2 big boys who are left out against JMU and Tulane. And JMU and Tulane, if you're legit, then beat those teams, okay? And then you will get a spot. I think it's brilliant, Dwight. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I think it's brilliant. All right, B. you have the last rant here with us. What you got?
All right, man, before we get out of here, I need to address something. Because some of y'all are stressing me out as sports fans, okay? You don't watch the game, you watch Twitter. You don't analyze plays, you analyze emotions. One missed shot, one bad read, one drop pass, and you ready to fire the coach. Trade the star, rebuild the arena, and start a GoFundMe for next season. Everybody's a GM. Everybody's a cap expert. Everybody saw it coming after it already happened. You call players soft, but your mood is ruined for 3 days after a loss. You want loyalty, but you boo your own team like you ain't been wearing a jersey since August. Now, let me break this to you gently. Sports are supposed to hurt, okay? If losing makes you spiral, this might not be for you. If you need perfection, go watch highlights. If you want guarantees, go watch bowling. Because real fans understand this. The pain is the price of the parade. Look at Doc. Let's take Doc, for example. Knicks has been trash for the last 27 years. But these past 5 years, they've been great. They've been good. They've been manageable, okay? So if your team ain't winning right now, relax, okay? We'll argue about it again next week. And that's all I got to say. Fans, be more appreciative.
27 years, 27 years, Doc. It's been 53 since they won a championship.
No, they just won one, Dwight. They just won one.
My bad. That is true.
Oh, man, I got jokes. All right, back to Dr. X with your shout out, man. What you got down there in Bermuda with the beauty behind you?
Man, I just want Dwight to realize that, we are going to celebrate the Cup championship on the X-Rated Sports Network. And with that said, I want to cue up One Shining Moment, the Luther Vandross version, and hope you guys enjoy.
There's nothing like it for me. Rivals only Christmas. So this place is rocking.
The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're a shooting star, and all the years, no one knows just how hard you worked.
This is where dreams are made. Deflection.
In one shining moment, it's all on the line. In one shining moment, they're frozen in time.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Wow. That was phenomenal. Wow. Well played, Doc. Well played. One shining moment for your Knicks. That was cool, man. That was cool. They did not, probably an intentional edit, they did not get the Josh Hart little stuff with Jalen Brunson when he was messing with him at the trophy presentation. They left that out. I was kind of waiting. Are they going to put in the Josh Hart? I don't know what the heck he did, but he was messing with his boy.
Definitely not one shining moment. We don't want to see
No, that was not a shining. Did you guys see the Riot Comedy on that, though? Did you guys follow Riot Comedy on Instagram?
Riot Comedy is hilarious. Me and
God.
Rick just laugh about it silently. We can't like it because we can't condone everything that they put out there, but
Correct.
It's hilarious. We definitely send it back and forth.
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of their stuff where you're like, bro, I ain't touching it. Yeah, but some of their stuff is just zany hilarious, man. Doc, good stuff, man. One shining moment for my side piece team, the New York Knicks. All right, Dwight Walton, who do you want to shout out? I'll go last on this one.
You know what? I want to shout out everybody that's involved with this podcast. I think my cousin, who is the patriarch of this initiative, I think I want to shout him out. Listen, you guys love the back and forth between Phil and I, but there's a genuine bond, a love connection between he and I that nobody else can speak to. And I think that's why you see it as genuine. I will go to bat for my cousin Phil McDonald any day of the week. If anybody comes at him, I will put up these hands. No question about it. And the reality is for him to come up with this idea on the fly and to be blessed with having Rick Kamla, Dennis Scott, A.M. Pfeffer, and Brandon B. Armstrong as a part of this initiative, I thank God. This is a blessing. It truly is. And for me to be able to do this twice a week, if you asked me to do this every day of the week, I would gladly do it. I'm having a great time doing this. I love talking sports. I wish this was my full-time job. I'm just being honest right now. And my cousin has given me the platform to be able to hobnob with people that I see on television and on social media. It's fantastic. Rick, I can't wait to meet you in person. Brandon, I've met you 1,000 times, right? I can't wait to meet Dennis in person. I know AM, obviously. This is fantastic. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I've done everything but playing the NBA. This is the NBA for me. And I want to thank Phil and the rest of you guys, Kai and Jason. You've put up with my shenanigans me forgetting my password on my laptop, having a bad connection, finally getting the MacBook and having better clarity and audio. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I'm having the time of my life, and I hope we can continue this for the foreseeable future. I'm having the time of my life. Thank you very much. I love you guys.
Thank you, Dwight. I appreciate that. Appreciate the words. And I definitely want to piggyback on that and say thanks again to Rick, because Rick, I appreciate all the beautiful interviews that we've been able to get. The guests have been tier one and have been great interviews and just good people. I can't, say it any more than that. And just happy that, even explain to people who we're getting. It's mind-boggling because these are people in my childhood, that I heard about, seen, and now they're like talking on a platform that we've built together. So I appreciate all you guys, man. Thank you. Whew. My hands get tired now.
I mean, I love you guys, man. What can I say? This is an absolute blessing. I'm just charged up about this show and turning it into a juggernaut. I think we're already a juggernaut, and we're just going to get better and we're just going to grow more. But yeah, Dwight, I love what you said. Just nothing but love sent out to Dwight, Dr. X, B. AM, Jason, and Kai. Very, very happy to be here. All right, B. Shout out before we get out.
I just want to shout out everybody that watches the show. Whether you disagree, you agree, yell at the screen, or you talk crazy in the comments, we appreciate you. You don't have to tap in, but you do, and that matters. So if you're rocking with us live on replay clips or just catching the highlights, this show is for you. We don't move without the audience, and we and I appreciate you to the most. And I love you guys also, and I appreciate you guys for giving me the opportunity. Something that I've been wanting to do my whole life was talk sports. Show my personality, and I appreciate you guys for allowing me to do that.
You're very good at it, B. You're very, very good at it. So very I don't. Good. That's all really, really. It's an impossible act to follow. Okay, I'm just going to honor that love fest, and then downshift into my shout out before we get out. And there is love involved. Okay, but it's Laker love. All right, and Maverick love. All right. Luka Dončić and Kyrie Irving are my shout out before we get out. Okay. And it has nothing to do with scoring buckets. By the way, Kyrie and Luka should still be teammates. Okay. There's that. But I want to shout them out for their generosity. Kyrie Irving just bought the whole Mavericks team golf carts. Okay. And they have LED lighting, a badass stereo system. They look like it's not even a golf cart. It's like, it looks like something that could be like overseas with U.S. military. I mean, they're just completely badass. They look very expensive. Okay, so there's that. Luka Dončić bought 103 e-bikes for the team, coaches, and basketball operations staff, okay? And video came out of both of these things, and it's just really, really cool. And you saw, like, Cooper Flag lighting up and Rui Hachimura lighting it up. It's just so cool. Like, these guys are wealthy beyond belief, but still, I'm not diminishing, like, what they're doing here. And I want to make a quick comment about Kyrie Irving. He is so misunderstood, right? Mm-hmm. He pays tuition for young. I mean, this is just stuff I've read about, right? Pays tuition for college kids. Greatly, significantly, and consistently supports HBCUs. Okay, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff that didn't make the papers, right? But the papers. Wow, is that an old comment? You get it though. But Kyrie Irving is an incredibly generous dude, okay? And I mean, there's been bumps in the road, right? I mean, Kyrie's not perfect, but I've always been a Kyrie guy. Had his back when the Nets were messing with him with that COVID drama, right? Where you can't play in home games, but you can play in road games. So we don't want you for any of the games. Man, I crushed the Nets for that decision, okay? That is not how to treat anybody. Cooper Flag spoke about Kyrie, and he said, Kai is an incredible human being. He's looked out for us this whole year, and for me, ever since I got here, he's just been a really good vet for me. He's just a kind-hearted person. So, and by the way, one last little dap up here, a shout out to Karl Anthony Towns. He plans to donate his entire $530,000 from the NBA Cup to his foundation in the Dominican Republic to help the community and families in financial hardship build homes. He's literally housing people in the Dominican Republic. I mean, come on. Luka and Kyrie and Karl Anthony Towns. Well, keep it up, man. Keep it up. I love it. All right, guys. We are out of here.
Rick.
Yeah, what's up?
Rick, before we get out on the shout out to New York Knicks, also for them, generously shared a significant portion of their 2005 NBA Cup winnings to the team staff, video, medical, and training.
Good call
for the official bonuses, which created bonuses for them and highlighting, the great team culture. Mike Brown, Jalen, Brunson, and everybody. So shout out to that New York Knicks organization for for doing something like that. So just to piggyback.
You know what, Dot? You know what? Stuff like that. I'm telling you, if the Knicks go on to win the championship this season, it's stuff like that that just contributes to a culture that Mike Brown has created. It's not, I'm telling you, this type of stuff goes a long way. I'm with Rick, and I'm not saying it because my cousin is here. If I have a side piece in this situation, I want the Knicks to win, man. I want the Knicks to win.
What?
I love my cousin. I want my cousin to be able to go to a parade. I think his life will be complete after that. He has our beautiful family. He has his beautiful wife. He has his beautiful wife's family. To get Phil a championship now, I think he'd be like, you know what? I've seen it. I've done it all. That's it.
100. Yes, sir.
You guys rock, man. What a show. All right, we are done, ladies and gentlemen. Huge thanks to Kendall Gill for joining the show. That was absolutely phenomenal. Kendall, we love you. For Brandon Armstrong, a.k.a. B-Dot. For Dwight Walton. For Dr. Phil McDonald, a.k.a. Dr. X. And behind the glass, Jason Arambula. Our producer, Kai Josephson, our video director. I'm Rick Kamla. And folks, we will see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be joined by Leo Routens, former NBA player, and we'll have a good time. Y'all have a good weekend, man. So much sports, and we'll see you next week. This has been the latest edition of Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network, and we will see you soon.